Why aren't you listening to me? Doesn't anybody ever listen to me? Listen to me? Listen to me? Listen to me? Blame yourselves for this fucking word salad that I just spit all over the goddamn plate. This is all your fault. You and I like to. That's it. I work under the cover of darkness because I don't need the rest of society to look in my eyes and know that is a bad person.
Hey, what's happening? Mike Schmidt, 40-Year-Old Boy Podcast. I am a vision in blue today, folks. I didn't realize until I went outside. Like, I have a blue overshirt on, but I also have a blue t-shirt on, and I have blue jeans on, but they're like darker blue jeans. I look fucking good. I'm not going to lie to you. I look very blue. That's certainly blue. And speaking of blue, let's get this out of the way, folks. Sky Vodka, I know you're listening. We get it. The bottle's a cock. In every single ad, we get it. The bottle is a cock. You don't have to keep jamming it in our face. We don't have to keep deep-throating your blue bottle. We get it. The bottle in every single one of your ads is a cock. Yes, and the woman is looking askance, or she's holding it with her mouth open, or it's pointed right at her head like a fucking loaded revolver. She's about to get a vodka facial. We understand what you're trying to go for, Sky Vodka. You can just throttle down. You've done it enough. You've beaten it into our heads that your bottle is a cock. We don't need to see any more of them. I can't even imagine what your advertising department looks like. Just a bunch of dudes holding bottles in cock form. I'm just like, what if we pointed it up this way and she had her mouth open and her eyes rolled back in her head? Done! Print it up! What if we just bent her over a table and jammed it halfway up her ass? Well, I don't know. Then they might still look like a bottle. Do we have a flesh-colored bottle we can have at that point? Let's hang 2 ice cubes in a felt pouch off the bottom of our Sky Vodka bottle. Because people are not getting the message that our bottle is a cock. Holy shit. Look, I understand all advertising is cock. I get it. All advertising is cocks and vaginas. Everything can be boiled down to its essence at cocks and vaginas. Every single ad you see. But Sky Vodka, we get it. We get it. Enough. Not that I'm angry about it. I mean, believe me, I enjoy seeing as I'm driving and getting a fucking, throwing a road rod because I see one of your ads and I'm just like, oh, immediately, it's a cock and there's a girl. Done. And I got a second gear shift in the car. Boom. Right there on the tree. Grab it and move. All right. Folks. So, there's an ad right by your house here, driving up, and you can't miss it. It's just a woman on her back with her legs spread with a Sky Vodka bottle between her legs. Like and you're like, okay. It's so funny. I bet if you argued with Sky Vodka, they'd be like, well, no, it's the joy of enjoying our vodka. Plus the bottle is not really just a cock. It's a man. So it's like, she's embracing it like, no, it's a cock. It's a cock. We get it. You don't have to be ashamed of it. I wish Sky Vodka would just start putting a cock with the word Sky Vodka on it in all their ads. But then again, dumb girls would think that vodka came out of cocks. Which would make it easier to bang alcoholics all across this great land of ours. Hey, I got vodka on tap right here. Step right up. It's fine. Nothing wrong with that. All right. And it's frozen. They say vodka doesn't freeze? Mine does. It's going to take you a while to get out of the bottle. Unfortunately, a lot longer than it used to as I get older. Which is okay. I don't mind. That my vodka stays in my bottle that much longer. In the old days, forget about it. You'd get vodka in 5 seconds. Done. Nobody wants that. That's when I was 13. I had vodka on immediately. You talk about on tap, on request. You didn't even have to turn the nozzle. Vodka just shot out for no reason. There was some kind of party going on in my house every single night because when I would wake up, there'd be vodka all over the mattress. When I was a young man, forget about it. There was vodka aplenty for all. Now, however, you got to savor it. You got to wait, and you got to really, when it shows up, certainly there's enough for everybody who's in the room. But again, it does take a while for it to show up. All right. See, Sky Vodka should hire me. Look at the euphemism I just had fun with. Holy shit. You can make your Sky bottle vodka into a cock. I just made all of my fucking jizz into vodka from my whole life. Hire me, Sky Vodka. Hire me. It's funny. There's a contest at MLB.com, MajorLeagueBaseball.com. I have to tell you, folks, MLB, people are like doing the anagram. Like, MLB? It's not an anagram. It's an abbreviation. You know what it is? It's an anagram for boom. Oh, that was dumb. All right. Or Bimmel. Frederica Bimmel. We all know Frederica Bimmel. It's a tragedy what happened to her. What? Jamie Gum got her. He dumped her into the drink in West Virginia. Frederica Bimmel. God damn it. She worked for old Mrs. Lippman. All right, when they used to make dresses. What happened? Have you seen Mrs. Lippman? I haven't seen her in forever. What happened to her? I think she sold the house to that one guy. All right, so old Mrs. Lippman. What did Frederica know? Big dummy. That's my favorite thing is when Jodie Foster goes to talk to her friends, like at lunch, and that one's got the bangs, like the most severe. It looks like Betty Page got her head caught in a thresher. I mean, it's like so bad, the fucking bangs. Because I am not a fan of bangs on ladies. Although, bullshit. You know, some people can pull it off, but some people then they cut it like way too short. It's like there's a thing. It's like you can have bangs and then you're like, ooh, sexy. But if you lose like another eighth of an inch, it's just like, oh, you're eating paste. I mean, it's like. Enough with the bangs. Holy shit. I mean, it's just because there's, bangs are fine, but there's a certain cutoff. You have to have a certain cutoff. Otherwise, you look like you got to be having plastic scissors. That's right. We can't trust you with the good scissors anymore because look what you did to your hair. Holy shit. It's you see these women with bangs that are too short and you're just like, what, did you fall asleep with gum in your mouth? Is that what fucking happened? You don't look good. You do not look good, short bangs. Nobody wants to see your forehead. Jesus fucking Christ. Cover it up with hair. Take it from a guy whose hair is leaving on the last train to fucking Georgia. Cover it. Savor your hair, folks. Savor it. Oh my God. Twist it around. Do whatever you can with it. Fuck with it. Make it look good. Holy shit. All right. Poor Frederica Bimmel. All right. So there's a bug cocoon in her throat, too. I heard that happened. Oh, Jesus. All right. So where did I get? How did I get into Frederica Bimmel? MLB. MLB.com. They have a contest right now for a thing called the Fan Cave. They did it last year. It was like two dudes. They picked two dudes out of all of the entries. And what they do is they go to New York for baseball season. And they live in New York. And they are in the Fan Cave. And they're on MLB.com, MLB TV. And they meet players, and they hang out in this baseball type joint. And they get stared at by everybody. They got one of those plexiglass windows. Everybody outside gets to stare at you as you watch baseball, but you get to watch all of the baseball games. And you meet major league stars. You film sketches, all these different things. And I want to win. I want to enter it. I want to win. Like I said, Sky Vodka. But here's the problem: they will never hire me. They'll listen to this, and because I said 10 minutes about coming vodka. They're never gonna fucking hire me. That's the thing is they're like, give any relevant links to your websites and any of your online stuff. I'm like, oh no, I've never been online before. Literally, I'm just gonna show up. I'm gonna just send a picture of me with a fake mustache, Mike Smith, and hire me, please. Because the second anybody hears this show, it was like, some people were very nice. This is really, all right, this is crazy, all right? And I should tell you that unfortunately, it was just crazy enough where I was going to act on it, but then I didn't because I'm stupid. 3 people wrote me and said that I should submit my show for a Peabody Award because I guess they do podcasts and stuff now. Well, the deadline passed, but so that's why I didn't do it. But, well, that's not why I didn't do it. They wrote me 2 months ago. I could have done it. I just laughed. But like, I wrote them back and I said, that's really nice that you say that. But the second they heard the theme song, they would turn it off. Literally, I'm like, you and I think I say, blame yourselves for this fucking word salad I just spit out. Click. The Peabody, they take their white gloves off. They wash them furiously, crack their knuckles, light their pipes, and lean back in their seats. And then I said it to somebody, and they're just like, no, dude, you should have just done it. I mean, and I'm like, I should have. Yes, I should have, I guess. Because they said the Father's Day episode is what I should have put in. And by the way, speaking of that, the Father's Day episode, did you guys see the story? Did you see the story? You saw it, right? Oh, my Christ. There's a story out here. A hooker in Burbank tried to get into a guy's car at McDonald's and offered to blow him for free McNuggets. Prices are going down, folks. I was getting $80 for everything, and this girl's going for a 6-piece. She's going to get a mouthful of vodka. I mean, Jesus Christ. There's no way it was the same chick. I mean, unless things have fallen really on her, because she was cute. My girl was cute. There's no way she's giving it up for fucking processed chicken. That can't be the possibility, right? I don't know. And honestly, in that transaction, what's the worst thing to have in your mouth? Strange guy's cock or 6 McNuggets? I don't know. It's a toss-up. What's worse for your health? Bareback blowjob or a big fucking container of 6 McNuggets? Jesus, I don't know. It's really a coin flip at that point. 6 of 1, and literally 6 of 1. Yeah, I can't decide what's worse for your health there. 6 McNuggets or a fucking strange guy's uncovered cock. Mouthful of strange vodka or McNuggets. I'm doing, right now, folks, you can't see me because it's a radio show, but I'm doing a scale thing with my hands. We should do a video of this show. No, we shouldn't. Ever. People said that to me. They go, you should have a video accompaniment. I barely have an audio accompaniment. I can barely schlep myself here and do this fucking show every week for you people and do audio. You want to throw in video? As bad as my hair looks these days? Holy shit. I got to stop saying holy shit. That might be the name of the show this week. Does it look good? You're nice. I got to put junk in it. It looks good. Like I said, it looks good. It's just, I know what's going on under the hood. It's like if you had an amazing car and then it was like someone goes, let's go for a ride. You don't want to ride in this car. Trust me. I know what's happening. So yeah, I saw that, and I gotta, because that girl. First of all, the message here: lock your doors when you're driving in the valley. Lock your fucking door. Because we had did I talk about Jeff on this show? A listener of the show, Jeffrey, who's donated to the show in the past. He was the producer of that Metamorphosis Kickstarter or whatever it was, Indiegogo. I don't know what the fuck it was, but we promoted it for him. He sponsored a show. Jeff called me because he has my phone number because I did his podcast once, and apparently he decided to keep my number. What the fuck, Jeff? Folks, listen, if I deal with you and you have my number, burn it afterwards. I'm supposedly like Mission Impossible. Your fucking phone smoke's supposed to come out of it. My phone number's supposed to disappear. We're not supposed to have any more dealings after we're done. All of a sudden, we're friends, Jeff? You call me out of the blue? Hey, Mike? No. I'm your internet friend. Send me words on an electronic wave, and I'll go ahead and read them and answer them in 6 months. Calling me is far too immediate. I don't want to fucking hear from you. These are lies. Of course, I want to hear from you. If you have my number, call me. Don't call me. Do not call me. What if we should schedule that? That would be actually an interesting show. If I told people when I was going to record and I had the phone and they could call me and ask me questions. And you know what's funny to me? I won't Skype, but I'm going to make them call me on my cell phone for recording purposes. So then it would just literally all people would hear would be my side of the conversation. So really, when you get down to it, I could make it up. I could say that I'm doing that show, and then next week we do it, and I fake conversations with people. God damn it! All of a sudden, I'm Newhart. I'm the Newhart of podcasting. Bobby. So how did I fucking spiral out of that? So Jeff called me, dude. It's like a couple of months ago, and Jeff called and said he was fucking panicked, which is even worse. Then he calls me panicked, and he called me late. He called me at like 2:30 in the morning, and I'm like, "What the fuck are you doing, dude? I am not bailing you out. No offense, unless they let me come up and bail you out with like a 4 minutes of funny dialogue." Because I do not have the money to fucking bail you out. And I'm not going to go see Robert Forster and put my Murano on the line for you. As close as we are, as close buddies as we are, since we now have each other's phone numbers. And we feel the ability to use them at any time, day or night. That's the thing is on this show, everybody knows that I'm up late. So then they'll call me in the middle of fucking night. And who did it the other day? Somebody called me the other day at like 1 a.m. And then I answered. And they were like, yeah, I knew you'd be up. Well, fuck, why are you calling me? That seems weird. Whatever. All right. So Jeff called me and he's all fucking shaky. And I should tell you, all right, he called me and I didn't get the message. Oh, he left a voicemail because I didn't see it. Which is horseshit. It rang and I looked and I saw it said Jeffrey Lobb and I'm like, either he's dying or he needs me to replug the Metamorphosis thing and he wants to discuss it at 2:30 in the morning. But I was at work and I couldn't do it because I was very busy with somebody else. This is a lie. These are all lies. I just didn't take his call. No offense, Jeff. I like you, but I saw it and I went, because that's not going to be a good call. 2:30 in the morning from a guy I've met 3 times who is very supportive. He's seen me live do stand-up. He came to when I did the run-through to do the you met Jeff because I did the run-through to do the one man and I did that run-through in front of 9 people here in LA. And Jeff was one of them. And he's been very supportive and very cool. But that doesn't mean I'm going to take his call at 2:30 in the morning. So I didn't. And then when it went to voicemail, I listened to it. And he's like out of breath, freaking out. He's in Hollywood. And a hooker got in his car. And she wouldn't leave. She wouldn't get out of his car. And then he basically said to her, hey, look, if you don't get out of the car, I'm getting out of the car. And she's like, fine, I'm not, whatever. Blah, blah. And she was trying to get him to fuck her and go to this hotel. And he got out of his own car and called the police. And then they came. And she got out. And they're like, yeah, she does this a lot. like a stray goat on a farm. She just finds her way into a tool shed or a different truck every goddamn day. Holy shit. Stop saying holy shit. So they said to her, yeah, she does this all the time. Like, they know her in Hollywood, and so they take her and they escort her away, and then they look at Jeff and they just go, yeah, you know what? You really need to lock your doors. Like, this is on him. It's on him that some fucking dim-witted mental patient half-goat of a prostitute got into his car and demanded to get fucked. Look, I've met Jeff. He was, you know, Jeff actually brought a date to one of my shows. I talked about that. I did stand-up in some open mic hell, and Jeff showed up with a date, and I even apologized to her on the way out. I apologized to her. I apologized to Jeff. I apologized to her for Jeff. There's no, Jeff, you like me, but don't expose me to your lady friends. Except for one. This lost soul, half a goat prostitute is in Hollywood climbing in and out of vehicles. Holy shit. I got to stop saying that. Why am I fighting that crutch today? I say it sometimes, but now it's a crutch. I'd rather say crutch. That's a better thing to say. Crutch. Not enough syllables. So Jeff had the same thing. And when I heard it, of course, after I safely let him hang up and leave the message, I have to admit, I felt validated. Like, I felt, because there are still people who don't fucking believe me. You know what I mean? When I tell that story, and it's like, so I wanted to save Jeff's voicemail and put it on the show just to play it. This happens, motherfuckers. This absolutely happens. And then he wrote me a follow-up email to, because I didn't return his call. Because it was late. It was very late, folks, for a week. That rest of that week, it was so late. My schedule fucks everything up, man. I get people who want to hang out or whatever, and there's a buddy of mine I had lunch with, and then he's like, hey man, you want to go to a movie or something? I go, yeah, but I had just explained to him one of the reasons why it was so difficult for me to have lunch with him is because of my schedule. So 2 days later, he calls me at like 1 in the afternoon, and he's like, hey, let's go see a movie this afternoon. I'm out, man. I'm fucking asleep. You know what I mean? Unfortunately, I live upside down, and 1 o'clock in the morning, good time to get me. 1 o'clock in the afternoon, not so good. Unfortunately, we're not going to see a lot of movies at 1 o'clock in the morning. However, we can get into our car, drive down to Hollywood, and leave the doors unlocked and see what happens. That might put any other movie to fucking shame. Fuck movies. Let's go down to Hollywood with unlocked doors and see what the fuck transpires. I'm in. So that's what I'm saying. So MLB.com, I want to enter that contest and live there and be like a Phillies fan and watch stuff. Because, I mean, I'd be fucking hilarious. I would be hilarious. It's like, all right, look, I think I'm great. Or you guys know that, right? And you think I'm great or you wouldn't have fucking listened this far. That when I was coming vodka all over my bed, you would have hung up. I was just on the phone. Did I call you guys? Actually, I did and went to voicemail. This is the longest fucking voicemail you'll ever receive in your life. I called you guys to tell you about coming vodka. You're like, oh, ignore, bleep. Does your phone make a bleep noise? Mine doesn't. But I think I'm fucking hilarious. So it's like, I always think, like, I'm so stupid. I told you I want to be like Rebecca De Mornay and burst in and start singing and someone's going to give me a job. That's not going to fucking happen. They're going to laugh at me. Because I want to contact Dana White from the UFC. I want to work for the UFC. I think I'd be great doing something in some capacity, their official podcast or like radio shit or, whatever the fuck. I don't know. But I just know that they would just go, who the fuck is this idiot? Like, they wouldn't think I was funny ever in a million years. Which is why I want to get on Rogan's show so bad. So then there might be like a pipeline because Rogan does his show. And then like if Joe and I hit it off, oh my God, that'd be great. I'd be like his boyfriend. That probably wouldn't happen. But it's so funny. He's buddies with Ari. And Ari was doing a show in Portland, a story show, and I contacted Ari, and I'm like, hey, dude, we've only met a couple times, but I would love to do your story show. And he wrote me back. He's like, dude, you're hilarious. I would love to have you on. Let me figure out the nuts and bolts of it. And then I wound up not going to Portland, so I wound up not doing it. But if he does it again, when he does it in L.A., hopefully I'm going to go and see what I can, whatever the fuck. You don't care. What do you care about the behind the, I'm pulling the curtain closed. You guys don't want to see behind the curtain, do you? No. If anything, I should just, you know what? Actually, I'm going to leave my curtains unlocked and see who wanders behind them. I'm leaving my curtain unlocked, and whoever shows up, shows up. Could be $80 for everything. Could be just some, you know what? It could be a representative from MLB. They know of my interest, and they come to get me. They sing, they didn't even have an entry form for me. They just go, please do the show. Come on, how hilarious would I be talking to fucking all these numbskull white baseball players? Or even better, the Dominican guys who have no clue how to talk to me. See, it'd be perfect. And then I would just, do I really want to do that, though? Because I can't be me on that show. No, because I'm a representative of MLB at that point. So I just, you know why? All right, because it's all about hero worship. So I would have to be on there, and I couldn't make fun of these baseball guys. You'd have to just basically smile and go, this is great. It's like whenever any normal show has someone who might be a celebrity on, and they have to act like they're the greatest celebrity who ever lived, fuck that. Once you're in the celebrity club, you get your ass kissed by every lower level, lower rung fucking non-celebrity bullshit thing in the world. It's terrible. It's fucking terrible. There's a guy, all right, look, I like this guy. He's a good kid. All right. He lives in the building that I guard. So So he's already got a leg up on me. All right, this guy, he's an actor and all that other bullshit. But he's telling me about he has a job as well, and he's telling me about all the like celebrities that come in, and he rattled off like 30 of them, and he's just going da 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 da, and in my head I'm just going, they're restaurant patrons. You didn't. It's not like you got to hang out with them and play Yahtzee or any fucking thing. It's like they came into the place where you work and you saw them, and that doesn't. And I'm old, all right. I guess I get, but I've never been one to go, ooh, oh, look. I mean, but I have, when Natalie Portman walks into a restaurant that I'm at, you go, holy shit, that's Natalie Portman. But then I just eat. But Karen was like staring. I don't know why. I'm just so averse to celebrity and averse to that thing happening. And with MLB, man. Oh, so what I was saying is all these shows, dude. I watch Top Chef. All right. Top Chef is just a show with a bunch of people. Like I said, it's all about the whisking. If I would watch whisking, fine. That's what Seth said, and he's right. So sure enough, on Top Chef, they'll have a celebrity come in, and then they have to like cater a party for them. So they had Patti LaBelle on a couple of weeks ago, and Patti LaBelle comes into and the thing is, this is what they do: they lure the Top Chefs to a hotel bar and pretend that they're just going to be there. Oh, look, this is my favorite part: the Top Chefs are in a hotel bar drinking, and they're thinking, "Woo, we have the night off." Yes, that's why they sent the camera crew. Of course you have the night off, Top Chefs. That's why there's 9 cameras here filming you drink. Brace yourselves for the twist, guys. And then sure enough, the announcer is just like coming up to the stage now, international stage and screen recording artist Patti LaBelle. And all the chefs, they show them, they all go, and they go crazy. And they act like it's the greatest. And then they cut away to individual interviews. And all of them are like, I cannot believe I'm watching Patti LaBelle in a hotel in Texas. It's unbelievable that Patti LaBelle showed up. You don't give a fuck about Patti LaBelle. You don't. You have to pretend that you do because the producers of the show are like, all right, we've got to suck off Patti LaBelle as much as we possibly can. So pretend that she's the biggest singer who's ever lived. Go. Literally, she does Lady Marmalade and then, all right, well, thanks for coming. I mean, these chefs are 28. Nobody gives a fuck who Patti LaBelle is. Seriously. But then she gets to judge their food and be fucking mean to them later. And it's like, I want to just go, fuck you, Lady Marmalade. When was the last time you had a hit fucking song with your ridiculous hair? Get the fuck out of here. Tina Turner bites your ass and walk out. Why can't the Top Chefs fight back? No, they have to let Patti LaBelle make fun of them. Fuck that. Brutal. It's like there's this show now on Food Network called Guy and Rachel's Celebrity Cook-Off. Okay? And I've seen the commercials. I refuse to watch it. All right? Because here's why. I watch Diners and Drive-Ins and Dives, which is this show with Guy Fieri, because I like to see people prepare food. I've mentioned this a million times. It's what I like. Yes, I do. I jerk off to a chili. I often will do that. Whisking. Oh, whisking. I was whisking. You don't whisk with that. She gave me a hand motion, the jerk off hand motion, and then I said jerking off, and she's like whisking. No, well, that's how I jerk off.
You jerk off
in a circular motion. Yes, I do.
You helicopter yourself off.
How else can I get vodka all over the bed? I'm not a linear shooter, all right? I like to spray all over the joint. You think it's funny when they go with that black light in the hotel and they do the fucking bedspread and there's cum all over it? That's me. Everybody else marks their territory in a straight line. Fuck that. I pollock the joint out. I do not fuck around, man. I'm not happy until every fucking dry spot is saturated. Boom. I have created many paintings on the road called DNA by Mike Schmidt. Fortunately, I can't see them unless you have special equipment, but they're out there. I have compiled a wonderful art collection throughout hotels all over the Midwest and beyond. There's a very good chance you've seen my artwork if you've stayed in a hotel somewhere in the Midwest. You're not aware of it. You've been in close contact with it. Maybe you didn't see it. But trust me, when you walk into that shitty painting of a horse on the wall, that's not the only painting in that hotel room. If I stayed in it. So they have this fucking show. It's like celebrities cooking. And in the commercial, it's like Lou Diamond Phillips and Coolio. And dude, literally the loosest interpretation of the word celebrity you could ever imagine in a million years. Like Coolio's a celebrity. If you were shopping and there were 4 other people in there and Coolio walked in, he's automatically the celebrity in the room. But if you put Coolio at the Golden Globes, people would be asking him to go get them drinks. I mean, honestly. He's got 3 songs, and then that's it. And then a reality career, and it's become a way to whore yourself out. You can be a reality person. Lou Diamond Phillips, he made Young Guns. And I think he also made Young Guns 2, if I remember correctly, and La Bamba. And now he's making Salad on the Food Network. Good for him. But the problem with it is if we all recognize that level of celebrity and we all kind of chuckle to ourselves, but on the show, Guy Fieri and Rachel Ray, they have to kiss those people's asses because they had to promise them stuff to get them on the show because still, as low level as their celebrity is, Food Network is still beneath them and still has to chase them and beg them to be on there. Because the Food Network, you know who the celebrity is on the Food Network besides Guy Fieri? Soup. That's who it is. Literally, it's like Guy Fieri, the fucking chick who loves giving head, and Rachel Ray. That's it. That's their three superstars. And then the barefoot idiot who's rich and hates everybody. What's her name? Giada De Laurentiis, the chick with the giant mouth. Okay. She's a fucking cum freak. Look, I have all right, I don't know that for sure. I haven't had any personal dealings with Giada De Laurentiis. All I know is online. Supposedly she is, that's the story about her, is that she's got like a husband, but it doesn't matter. She cheats on everybody and she loves, that's her deal. Like she's a crazy, she's basically the female me. She's all into giving head and that's it. Oh my God. So, yeah, I probably should call her Giada. I don't think... but she's, whatever the fuck, who cares? But that's things. That's their level of celebrity. I used to do a joke about it on stage about how the Food Network was and Emeril Lagasse did a live show. Look, if you do a show where you're cooking, that's cool. I'm all on board with that. But the second you introduce a live audience to a cooking show, it fucking cheapens and ruins the entire goddamn thing. How culturally bankrupt are we as a nation if Mugu Gai Pan is getting a standing ovation? That's right from my act, folks. 8 years ago. That's right. But that show used to drive me crazy because Emeril would come up and he's like, you know what we're making today? We're making barbecue sauce. What the fuck? Calm down. You can walk out of the studio, walk 8 steps, and buy barbecue sauce, motherfucker. I don't need to see a guy making fucking muffalettas with a live band. Back off. And I love the Food Network. I love watching people make food. But what I hate is I hate watching people make a big deal out of people making food. Just make food and let me relax. Let me calm down and jerk off in a circular motion as you make a nice garlic aioli while I'm making garlic aioli at the house. That's fine. Which is it? I know you're thinking vodka or garlic aioli. It all depends on what I ate that day. Eat a lot of pineapple vodka, vodka comes out. All right. You eat a lot of dairy products, then you get a garlic aioli. All right. So... this is grim. Yeah, you know what? Major League Baseball right now, they're calling. My phone's ringing. I just can't hear it because I'm here recording. They're listening to this right now. They're calling. Oh, I don't know why they're hearing it in the future, and then they're calling me now, and I wouldn't be able to hear the phone. I have no idea. I can't explain it, folks. I don't know how MLB works. That's how they do things. All right, they're in the future. They go ahead because they have to be. They're a cut above. They're a huge organization. Guy Fieri, I watched Diners, Drive-Ins, and Dives, and look, he's a douchebag. All right, can we all get that? I mean, I talked about this last year, I think. He went on a live tour where he's like making club sandwiches in front of people and they're cheering, and then he brings out a rock band. It's like, dude, what the fuck? No one, you're not a rock star. Jesus Christ, you're a grown man with bleach in your hair. Oh, and a lot of it. Stop bleaching your hair, adults. Put on shoes with laces and stop bleaching your hair. Not even laces. I don't even need laces. If you have a nice slip-on that's like a nice Bruno Mali, that's fine. But quit wearing fucking flip-flops. Ugh. So Guy Fieri, I watched Diners, Drive-Ins, and Dives one day, and he's horrible because he'll make these like cutesy puns and then he smirks into the camera. You hate him. You just fucking hate him. And you're just rooting for him to get scalded. Like he's in a kitchen. How hard would it be for somebody to trip with a pot of bouillon and scald fucking Guy Fieri? And he mentions his kids' names, Hunter and Ryder. Oh, really? That's your kids' names? Jesus, dunk your head in the fryer. Although I'm sure his hair would form some sort of bleach cocoon and wrap itself around his head and save his life. Oh. Although maybe his hair's angry about being mistreated. Maybe it wouldn't save him. Who am I to judge? What do I know about him and his relationship with his hair? All I know is it's an abusive one. I can tell you that. That is an abusive relationship between Guy Fieri and his hair. Oh, man. That guy's got Clorox is in business because of Guy Fieri. Do you bleach your hair with Clorox? I have no idea how it works.
Yeah, that's what she...
Is that you just dunk your head into a thing? All right. You know what? Fill a fryer with bleach. That'd work. So on Diners, Drive-Ins, and Dives, he's a smarmy asshole, but it doesn't matter because I get to see somebody make a lamb, which that's all I want to see. But he had a show once where, because again, he's the celebrity, so he will show up at people's places, and they're all kind of wide-eyed, and they're happy to see him, and he gets to make snarky jokes and be cute, and like do the Chaplin thing with the rolls and the forks, or he'll make some, and he thinks he's so precious and funny. He thinks everything he says is a gem, and it's just, again, I'm just rooting so desperately for someone to plunge a goddamn chef's knife deep into his dark heart. But instead, watching it, 1 week I turned it on. And he had Kid Rock as a guest. And then he and Kid Rock got to go to all these restaurants in Detroit because that's where Kid Rock is from, and take a look and go make sandwiches and whatever the fuck. And so Guy Fieri wasn't the star. Like he didn't, and so he had to kind of kiss Kid Rock's ass because Kid Rock is actually, whether you agree with it or not, Kid Rock is a star. All right, he's had huge multi-selling albums. He still sells out arenas, not arenas, shows, whatever the fuck. Who cares? And I actually, I don't mind Kid Rock. I mean, he's not fucking. Maybe he might be a douchebag, but he's not when I hear him talk and stuff. He, Kid Rock does not have his stuff on iTunes. His music's not available on iTunes, and everybody's furious and they're making fun of him and laughing that he doesn't see the future. And he actually wrote an op-ed piece or something like that. Maybe not an op-ed piece. I don't think Kid Rock was in the New York Times. But he was maybe in an interview in Rolling Stone, and he just explained. He goes, "Hey man, I just don't want to do it. I got enough money. Everybody's making fun of me and telling me I don't see the future and all that. No, it's fine. If it's your future, that's fine. I like the fact that people buy my album and they listen to the whole album, because when I create an album, I want it all to be listened to. I don't want people to be buying singles. I want people to buy my album. That's it." And then he put on his Navajo derby and grabbed his midget friend, and they drove off with Sheryl Crow in a fucking roadster, which may invalidate his smart points. I have no idea. Just the fact that he wears that idiot Bullwinkle hat and hangs out with a midget who's dead now. Yes, I know the midget is dead.
What?
Kid C's dead, or right? What's his name? Rick C? I don't know the fuck. Kid. No, it's Kid Rock. It's not Kid C. His little midget buddy? He's been dead for like 6 years.
Wow.
He's been dead a long time. And you didn't. How did Kid Rock had him stuffed? You didn't know that? That's why he grabbed him. He's hanging out with him. He's got that hat on. He grabs his stuffed midget, throws him in the back seat, drives off with Sheryl Crow. That's what you do when your midget friend dies. You stuff him. It's a tribute. Because you don't want to bury him, because, I mean, you got to buy a whole plot for half a dude. Fuck that. Stuff that motherfucker and put him in your den. With his hands outstretched, you can put your fucking goofy Kid Rock hats on his hands. Are you okay? You gonna be all right?
I'm alright.
All right, that's good.
Oh my god. Fuck. I hate it when you do that to me.
You just fucking get him stuffed, and he's got his hands up like this, and then it's just boom, instant magic hat rack. Boom. Walk in and toss your derby right on Kid C's fucking mummified hand. All right. And then you and Sheryl Crow and Guy Fieri make some fucking ridiculous sandwich. And also then it turns out that the whole show is a commercial for Kid Rock's brewery, because he puts out a Kid Rock beer, which, by the way, is not available in iTunes. I don't know if you're aware of that, the Kid Rock beer. Because when Kid Rock makes a six-pack, he wants you to drink the entire six-pack. He doesn't want you to just take one bottle of it, for fuck's sake. Kid Rock puts out a case of beer. He wants you to get the entire case of beer. You can't just buy one beer off of Kid Rock. Get the whole fucking case. It's an entire work. God damn it. I'm proud of that. That was funny. All right. The fuck was I talking about? How did I even spin off and all that bullshit? I don't know. MLB, yeah. So they're not going to hire me. They can't. I want to enter it so bad, but then it's so funny that when you go to enter it, it's this order form, and then you got to make like a video, and you got to write like a 500-word thing. Fuck you! I'm not working for you, MLB. Hire me because I'm funny and I like the Phillies. That's it. I can help you as much as you can help me, MLB. That's a lie. But I can guarantee you at least, fucking 7,000 people a week will tune in and check me out. Seems high. It depends on the week. Depends on the week. Yeah, it depends on the week. Actually, that's low. I'm not sure. I don't know. I just see a bunch of colored lines. I have no idea. Lily's in charge of all that. She's the one who talks to all our advertisers and sponsors. She's the one who deals with tweakedaudio.com exclusively. That's a lie. Lily hasn't dealt with them at all. I tried to. I was like, hey, you want to talk to Bruce from now on and scare this one? No, not at all. Unless he's going to give me some cock ring watches. I don't want to talk to Bruce. He did. He came through. That's Bruce at tweakedaudio.com/40 does. As I wear his earbuds now and I talk to you. Those are earbuds, right?
Yes.
I always say tweakedaudio.com/40 autoerotic asphyxiation earbuds, but are they earphones? They're not earphones. They're earbuds. Right. But I'm wondering if Apple owns earbuds. The term. iBuds. Oh, nicely done. If they're not that, they should brand them that now. Wait, copyrighted. Mail the show to us. Right now, let's take a break. We'll mail the show to ourselves. Nobody can steal that. Nobody. All right. I have so many great ideas that have been stolen. Those are lies. Again, those are lies too. Why am I lying so much on the show? This is the show of fibs. All right. The abominable Dr. Phibbs. That's who I am, damn it. My wife was killed, and I have a skull face, and now I have to wear a mask to lie to everyone. So, folks, bottom line, MLB would not hire me. But they should. Oh, my God, they should. I would be hilarious. And you know what? They should do it for them because I would be great and everybody would love me. But also, they should do it for me because I want to go to New York. Oh, my God. I fucking love New York. I haven't been in New York in 3 weeks? Probably 3 weeks. Did I tell you guys I went to New York? Have I mentioned that? Actually, it dawns on me. I think I think I'm supposed to tell you a little bit more about New York, aren't I? Huh. I gotta remember where I left off, and then I'll bring the rest of New York to you guys. All right. Why don't I do that? Let's do that.
You're listening to the 40-Year-Old Boy, and later, Ass or Cave. 20 questions, tight quarters.
All right, man, you in?
I'm in.
All right, first question, as always, what's it smell like?
Smells like a dog yawning.
Have you been drinking?
Just enough to stay alert.
Okay. Are there any vehicles around you?
The natives guided me in. We had sled dogs.
Ooh. What sport could you play in there comfortably?
Ping pong? Oh, hold on.
What's the matter?
A part of me is wedged in here.
Ooh.
I might be trapped.
Can you cut yourself free?
Absolutely not.
Ass. Deep. Dark. Dank. Ass or Cave on the Mike Schmidt Podcasting Network.
I'm going to need some butter.
So the last couple weeks, I've been telling you people about a trip I took. It sounds dumb. So I've been talking about New York, and last week I truly intended, because I will tell you, there were most of you were very nice last week, but some of you were not happy last week, and were writing me because you couldn't believe that I did not finish the story. And my favorite part about that is just the implication that you've been waiting for me to finish this story so you could finally stop listening to me. like the entire time you've listened, you've just been waiting for the New York saga, and you're like, oh, as soon as he wraps this shit up, I never have to listen to this guy again. Get to the end of it. The fuck is wrong with you? And look, I guess I understand that sentiment, folks. If you invested 4 long years just to hear about what would happen to me in New York, you want me to end it so you can just go ahead and divorce yourself of this and not have to tether yourself. You know what? You're cutting off your anchor and setting out for the high seas of podcasting. You have me anchoring. I'm tied around your ankle. You're trying to swim. It's like having a 320-pound weight around your ankle every week. But now you're like, finally, I release myself from those shackles once I hear about New York. Finish the story. You're probably saying it right now as I say this. As I say this to tell you about that, you're saying, oh my God, he knows, and yet he still continues to build it up. Finish the story. As you swim against the tide with a 320-pound anchor around your ankle. You anchor ankles. But our friend Jill, who's Jill from Milwaukee, wrote us. Wrote me, didn't really write you probably. Wrote me and said, this New York thing isn't fair. She said, you always talk about on the show how you can't stand when people tell a long story without knowing the end of it because you don't want anything bad to happen. And then you're doing the exact same thing to us. She goes, there's nothing wrong with a 5-hour podcast. Yes, there is. Yeah. Trust me, there is. There's something wrong with a 3.5-hour podcast. And not about the content. Look, I'm entertaining in bursts, short bursts, long bursts. I'm entertaining whenever you want to fucking hear from me. But the problem is, I don't think my voice is going to last for a 5-hour podcast. I don't know what's going to last for longer, quite frankly, your ears or my voice. By the end of it, I'm going to sound like Froggy from the Little Fucking Rascals. I don't know. Literally, I don't know if anybody's ever talked themselves into throat cancer, but I think I might. I may actually talk myself into throat cancer. My vocal cords are just frayed and hanging on, and as I continue to talk and talk. Wait a minute, that's not how it works, right? The vocal cords don't fray. It's not. I make it sound like, you know what it is? Your vocal cords are like an energy bar when you're in a video game and you're fighting. Think of my vocal cords as an energy bar in a video game when you're fighting, like a life bar, and then you know how it goes down every time you get hit? As I do the show, you'll see my life bar just shrink, and there's unfortunately no glowing blue pellets for me to eat while I'm recording. There might be, actually, in this house. If there's any house in Los Angeles that has glowing blue pellets, it's going to be Doug Benson's or this one. And for two entirely different reasons. Oh, do you? You're going to start answering in complete sentences? How are you? That's good. So she's right. I mean, I said to her, I go, look, and so I actually told her, I go, all right, if you want to know the end, I'll tell you. Like, I mean, literally, and I did. I told her, you know, to alleviate her fear or whatever, and square it away. And then some other people asked me too, wrote me and said, look, I never do this. What happens? Like, because they're, and part of me is just like, oh, I guess maybe people are getting a little upset. I don't know. I don't know why they should be, but that's fine. I mean, but honestly, I will tell you, I fully intended to finish last week. I did, and it just. But for some reason, when the show started, I went, yeah! And I clicked the reins, and then I let them go, and the horses took me wherever we were going to go. And 3.5 hours later, they were like, we're thirsty. And I said, let's stop. I'm thirsty, too. You old nags. My podcasting horses ran away. Who's going to ride my wild podcasting horses? Last week, it was me and you and all of us together as we had those wild podcasting horses take us to New York. And we rampaged throughout the city, all over the place. We didn't really rampage. We rode a boat. Last week we rode a boat. We were on a choo-choo. That's what I did. I went to New York just to ride all manners of transportation. Here's the story of me hang gliding off of the World Trade Center. Oh, it's not there anymore. Then you know I'm lying. Again, the story of fibs, the show of fibs. What if it was such a show of fibs, at the end of it I just went, I never went to New York. I created this entire thing out of whole cloth. Take that! A 6-hour opus. I'm the Jeffrey Chaucer of podcasts, and this is my Canterbury Tales. All right. This is a lot of references to a lot of things that make no sense to anybody. So I was in New York, as I've mentioned, and I was with our friends Seth and Brandy, who I can tell you have not written me telling me to get to the end of the story. I haven't heard from them at all, quite frankly. I'm sure they're at home going, is this ever going to end? This story, this is longer than the trip, for fuck's sake. Oh, my God. If they even listen at all. I may have, when you hear the end of the story, we'll see if they've even decided to listen at all. If I get to the end of the story, who knows, folks? That's right. Sit back. Relax. Maybe we stretch this out. What is this, episode 42? I can float this over 10 more episodes, right, to get to the end of fucking year 4? Year 4, the trip to New York. That'd be the last third of the series. Not the last third. My math is awful. We've been doing this since 40. So 12 episodes. So third, 36. Nah, fourth? No, fifth? It's a fourth. It's a fourth of it, counting the clip show. We didn't do a clip show yet this year. I did a show that I threw to a story. All right. I don't know why I'm retailing that for you guys. I'm retailing it. Not retelling or recounting. I'm retailing it. You can purchase it. There's a tag on it. Interest you in buying it? Send me some money. I'll send it off to you. Fuck. All right, so I'm in New York. And the last thing I mentioned to you folks was it was New Year's Eve. And we were on a boat and on a choo-choo. And all over the place. And on foot. And then in a rickety cab run by Sam, the racist Egyptian. Did I mention he was racist? I don't know if I did, because I didn't get to listen to it back. But he kept telling me how much he hated Indians and he hated Dominicans and Puerto Ricans. Yeah. And I'm sure he only gave us a ride because we were white. That was the only reason. That was it. I was white. Even though I did look a little swarthy. I had gotten some sun and I'd been out and my face was flushed. All right. So we were in a cab with the guy from Columbia, or is that the last guy? I don't remember. And then we were at Times Square, and then we wound up taking the cab, and Brandy didn't want to get out of the cab, and I was pissed. That's where I was talking. And we were at the hotel. They were going to ditch me for their friend. That was the last thing we talked about how this was my job to be with them. But then when they decided they were going to ditch me for their friend, I was like, oh, I was all sad. I didn't know what the hell I was going to do with myself. And my favorite line is I did listen to part of the end so I could try to stitch them together. And if you listen to the end of the last show, by the way, I have hiccups and I'm fighting them off while I'm talking to you guys. If you can hear, I keep thinking you can hear them trying to leap out of my body as I talk. Like, so if you hear me putting the emphasis on the wrong letter, it's because there's a hiccup coming and I'm fighting it off. How good am I to be able to talk through fucking hiccups and not make the hiccup noise? That's right. I've trained my esophagus well. So, and my uvula too. He knows what's up. My uvula knows what's up. What is he? I have a gangster uvula, folks. I don't know if you know that. If I open my mouth and you look back there, he's got a bandana. He's wearing a bandana around himself. Because he's a bandito. A uvula bandito. It's not a bad name for an album. Uvula bandito. Maybe it is. It is stupid. There's no doubt. So, at the end of the show last week, there's a thing where I actually say the phrase, what the hell am I going to do by myself in New York? What? Really? You're alone with money in the greatest city in the world? And you can't think of what you're going to do with yourself? But that just testifies to who I am now as a guy. I'm 44 years old. I'm like, yeah, I'm going to go to my hotel room. Why would I venture down? But I mean, I do stupid things. I mean, I will go out and do things outside by myself. But I just didn't see it. So literally I heard that line and I'm like, stupid. What do you mean? What are you going to do? But that is what went through my head when I was in fucking New York. So stupid. And gradually, I would have thought of something to do. Please, as I'm going to get to. I'll tell you right now what happened. All right. So then we got to the hotels, and they're at the W, and I'm saying goodbye to them. And it's 6:00 at the time this is happening, and they're like, "All right, well, we're gonna see our friend." More hiccups and a yawn. Holy fuck! All right, I talked right through the yawn. Even I'm boring myself. Jesus Christ, really? Get to the fucking point. My body rebelled against me. My body was just like, yeah, dude, what the fuck? All right. So I was in New York, and we show up at the hotels, and mine is directly across the street from there. It's basically like on an angle, diagonal, and we're saying our goodbyes, and they're telling me they're going to see their friend. And I talked about Cake Boss. And I talked about being at the Cake Boss bakery. I don't know if I mentioned this. I got into it with the guy from Boston, and once they called Brandy's number, I went outside because I didn't want to deal with being inside there any longer. I couldn't deal with it. I couldn't do it. So I went outside, and then Brandy came out before we got the cab. I don't know if I mentioned this to you. She's got like 9 bags.
What?
She went bananas in the Cake Boss house. Like she bought 1 billion cakes from the Cake Boss, almost as if they held a marzipan gun to her head, and we're like, "You're gonna get one of everything." Because even when she was looking, she kept saying, she's like, "Well, I'm gonna get cannolis," and then they got that, I forget what that's called, and there's something else. It's like a cream horn. What the fuck? And I'm like, I don't care. I'm getting the fuck out of here. But sure enough, when I went outside, she comes walking outside with she's laden down with pastry bags from the Cake Boss. And I looked at her. I'm like, you know, you're leaving in a day, right? Are you? You know who? The only people who profit from that are the homeless around our hotel. Because they're going to wind up getting a fancy pastry that they never would have gotten in a million years. Normally they would get like a crumbled dollar that somebody coughed in, some rubella strewn bottle of water. That's what someone would hand to them. But no, this time they're sitting there and, oh my God, it's a Napoleon. Thank you. So she buys all this stuff, and I didn't even bother to look in the box. And mind you, I busted her balls about it, because not only did she buy these pastries, she got like 9 bags of pastries, she's got 2 cakes in her room that she made. So they got to eat 2 whole cakes and then all this shit. And Seth, by the way, like a hobo, has a pocket full of beef sandwich. Because I couldn't eat mine, and I gave him half, and then he had her half, so he's tucked him into his parka. He's got a couple of pockets full of beef sandwiches. I'm surprised that there weren't dogs chasing our cabs throughout New York. 9 boxes of pastries and fucking pockets full of meat. Holy shit. There's holy shit. I held it off for a while. So we get to the hotels and we go to say our goodbyes, and we have 9 people helping to carry valets carrying pastries and pies. And so she says, all right, well, we're going to see our friend and we'll give you a shout later. I'm like, all right, we're still on for tomorrow. She said, yes. I said, okay, well, she goes, well, we might not see our friend. So if that's a possibility, and I think I told you that last week, and I tried to play it cool where I'm just like, yeah, well, whatever happens. But I'm in my head, I'm like, yes. Well, I don't want to be left to my own devices in New York. Terrible. So she goes, okay, well, hey, do you want like a pastry? Because when she was getting the pastries, I had told her to get me She's like, do you want anything? I go, do they have brownies? Just give me a brownie that doesn't have nuts in it. All right. But then when I thought about it, I was like, Cake Boss. I go, you know what? I don't. You know what? Scotch the brownie. She goes, well, I'm going to get Napoleons. Do you want one of those? I go, I don't. Whatever's cool. She goes, I'm going to get cannolis. I go, I'll have a cannoli. Good, done. You know, it's guy's Italian. See if he can pull it off. I'm in New Jersey. Get a cannoli. So then when I went to go to my room, she goes, hey, do you want like a Napoleon? Because at this point she's just accosting random passerby. Hey, do you want some fondant? I have a wallet made out of fondant. Would you like that? So I said, yeah, okay, I guess I'll take a Napoleon up to my room. And she hands it to me, and it's, dude, pastries are fucking heavy. Like, I mean, I didn't know what the fuck it was, but she hands it to me, and it's got a bunch of zigzags on the top, but it's it looks like a cinder block of cream and filling. So I go, all right, thanks, and I say my goodbyes, and I go up to my room. And already the hotel is buzzing with douchebags, you know what I mean, who are getting ready for New Year's Eve, and because they're eating. My hotel, for some reason, my hotel's not a fancy hotel. It's just a business type hotel, but they have a fancy restaurant up on the top of the place, and they're offering, champagne toast for $185, and then a lobster claw, and then all that bullshit. Make sure you wear a tie, and everybody nods at one another and pretends they're enjoying themselves. Nobody is. Corn bisque, fuck you, corn bisque, $250. No thanks. I got a Napoleon. So and then there's all these guys in formal wear. It's like 6:30 and there's guys in tuxedos. I go, dude, how uncomfortable are you going to be? I mean, I expect when the final 12 is said, they'll just go right to their room and go to sleep. Because I mean, I can't imagine being in that monkey suit any much longer than 6.5 hours. 6:30, 12. Yeah, no, it's 5.5 hours. All right, fine. So I make my way through the fucking douchebag penguins in the goddamn lobby, and I go up to my room. And I hop in. I didn't hop in. Sure I did. I hopped in. That's how I did it. I hopped on one leg down the hallway. Believe me, no one wants to talk to you. If you're carrying a pastry, that's the thing is if you're carrying a pastry, everybody wants to talk to you. What you have to do is hop on one leg so they can't go, oh, I can't bother that war veteran who was awarded a purple Danish. who was so obviously injured. He was obviously injured in the taking of Fruit Pie Hill. He fought alongside Twinkie the Kid bravely. And look at him. He has to hop to his room on New Year's Eve. God love him. I salute you, sir. Because normally everybody wants a bite of your pastry, but once you go out and hobble, they're like, oh, yeah, I can't. Obviously, he was in some sort of pastry-related conflict. I couldn't possibly hope to intervene. I wouldn't dream of it. All right. The taking of Fruit Pie Hill. That's a bloody, that cherry filling all over the place. Horrendous. So, all right, so I hop into my room, and I go in, I take my jacket off, and I sit down, and I turn the TV on, and I'm watching the Sun Bowl. I think the Sun Bowl was on. So depressing. When I was a kid, the Sun Bowl, I was like, dude, bowls used to mean something to me when I was a child. But now, the bowls are like ridiculous. Because I mean, everything, when I was a kid, sports meant something, and I could ascribe meaning to any fucking sporting event at all. The Sun Bowl, I'd be like, oh, this means something if Clemson defeats West Virginia. No, nobody gives a shit. No one cares. In real life, when you get older, you realize that. Especially after all the carnage I saw at Fruit Pie Hill. Oh my God. It puts life into perspective, folks. Any pastry-related war battle you see, that'll make you realize. Just, you come home covered in cream filling. I still wake up screaming. So I turn on the Sun Bowl, and then I'm sitting there in my room, and I'm like, I don't know what the fuck to do. I have no idea. I'm just sitting there. I'm like, all right, well maybe I'll go to a nice sushi joint, and or maybe I'll try to get dinner somewhere else. And but the problem with that, folks, is again, it's New Year's Eve in New York, and Brandy had told me that we were going to knock around and do whatever the fuck she wanted to do. So I never made any reservations. Anywhere. If I had made reservations somewhere, because I should have done that. I should have just made a backup reservation for Saturday night, but I never thought that I would have Saturday night off. I thought that was the one night, if anything, that we would be together. But instead, no, my job is I got to punch out. So it's just me and Napoleon up in my room, reminiscing about the wars that we've seen. Thinking about the battles that we've seen. Oh, terrible. So I'm watching the Sun Bowl, and I'm on the bed, and I keep looking at the Napoleon. Now, I'll tell you a little bit about me, folks. Like if that Napoleon's out for an hour, I know it's going to be stale, and I know I'm not going to want to eat it. But it's as big as my phone, like literally, like not my cell phone, the in-house phone. I mean, it is a fucking anchor of cream filling. So I keep looking at it, and I'm like, well, fuck, I should eat that thing. I gotta eat, even though it's like only 6:30. In my head, I was like, well, I'll eat it at a festival. I'll eat it at midnight, and I'll think of the wonderful day I had with my friend Seth and Brandy. But unfortunately, it's 6:30. And I'm staring at this Napoleon like a dog seeing a guy with a bad leg in the woods. I don't know what it would take a dog to actually think that he's going to eat a guy with a bad leg in the woods. I should have probably gone wolf. I don't think a dog is going to jump the fence and eat a dude right away, probably. I think a wolf maybe would, or a coyote. Yeah, I'm on the fly here, folks. I'm very sorry. But anyway, I can't stop staring at it. And here's how hungry I am. Because again, I told you we had that beef sandwich. And I ate half of a beef sandwich. So I was full in the afternoon. But because of my stomach and my fucking horrible life, I can eat and get full quickly. But then I'm hungry again an hour later. When you get that surgery where they do the gastric bypass, literally the rest of your life is as if you've just eaten Chinese food. That is how it works for you. Because you will eat a meal and then an hour later you're hungry. That's just the way it fucking works. So we ate this fucking roast beef, and it was laden with roast beef and mozzarella and bread. But I only ate about I would say a third to I didn't eat a half a sandwich. A little over a half, a little less than a third, a little more than a third, a little less than a half. Look, folks, I'm a war veteran. I'm not into math. All I know is point, click, and shoot, and just see an explosion of crust. So sure enough, I'm sitting there and I'm staring at the Napoleon, and but this is how I am. And this is one of the reasons I got fat in the first place. Like if I have a bowl of fruit in front of me, I'm not good at spacing out the bowl of fruit over like an hour. Like, you have a spoonful of like pineapple and grapes, and then I'm reading or watching TV. I will sit down, and my fucking hand is a perpetual spoon motion machine, and I am just shoveling pineapples and grapes into me because I think I have to finish the bowl right away. Got to finish it right away. And I don't know if that comes from having 4 brothers as a kid and constantly fighting for food at the table. I don't know what's wrong with my fucking head. I can't explain my pathology, but I think I got to finish stuff. I got clean plate syndrome. You know that, where you're like, I got to clean my whole plate before I can even think about getting another plate or doing anything else. Even if I'm full, I'll go, I got to eat everything on this plate. Why? Stupid. Well, I'd kicked that for a while when I was starting to lose weight, and it was really liberating to be able to push away food and go, I don't want to eat that. But now I'm back to, unfortunately, flashes of it show up. And it really showed up alone in a hotel room because I'm sitting there upset that I've been, laid off from my job. I've been laid off. All right. And it's when you're laid off, all you're looking to do is console yourself with comfort food. And I'm certainly not going to go upstairs to eat a fucking bouillabaisse. That's not happening for $295. Instead, I look around my room, and what do I have? Look at that. Oh, my God. There it is. It's a Volkswagen of frosting right there. I can just power that down. So I'm like, well, you know what? I got to have a bite of it. At least try a bite of it. Even though I was on the fence. And I picked it up. And again, two-handed because it's fucking monstrous. And I get it to my face, and I can barely, and look, I can open my mouth wide. I can put my fist in my mouth, all right, and I have big hands. I can palm a basketball. I'm telling you a lot about myself. Folks, here's more facts about my hands and my mouth. Stupid. All right, so I can put my fist in my mouth, and I can palm a basketball, and there's math there somewhere. Figure it out. I remember days in the foxhole of the pastry wars. I would entertain all of my fellow troops before I got winged in the ankle by a guy with a fruit tart. Oh, damn it. There was nothing. I saw there was one of those guys. A guy ran up and he pulled the pin in a coffee cake, threw it into the foxhole, took everybody out. Holy shit. Another holy shit. Stop it, motherfucker. Get it out of your head. So I pick up this Napoleon, and I'm able, but so I can barely fit it in my mouth. That's my point. It's huge, and so I take a bite out of it, and let me tell you a little bit about the construction of this Napoleon, folks. Napoleon is it's levers, or not levers. It's levers. If Rube Goldberg made your Napoleon, it would be levers. However, it's got layers, so it's like cream filling and phyllo dough, and cream filling and phyllo dough, right? Not phyllo. Maybe they use both. They use phyllo and phyllo. That's how big this was. That's how big this fucking pastry was, folks. They had to use phyllo and phyllo dough. And o solo mio dough. So it's like stacking up, and it's all this phyllo dough, and I go to bite through it, and it's one of those things where you can't get a clean bite. As you bite it, everything kind of it gets pushed to the back. You know what I mean? So it's an intricate structure. Okay, and let me tell you something. I am well aware of the fact that I am in a part of New York where no intricate structure is safe from disaster. I mean, I am about to fly my face into this Napoleon and ruin it for all generations. So I pick it up and I put it in my mouth and I bite it, and it does that thing where you can't cleanly go through it. It just kind of squashes because there's levers and layers and stop. I want to say levels and layers, and I keep saying levers. And then it expands in the back, as you're trying to bite through it. And look, I told you I made fun of the Cake Boss, and there were so many people in there, and they were buying things, and Brandy herself ran amok. If I only had to eat this thing for the rest of my life, that would be fine with me. Oh my God. Oh my Christ. It was like I came vodka all over the fucking place. I bit into that thing and ruined the bedspread. It was fucking horrendous and awful and awesome at the same time. It was delicious. Like it was so delicious. It was like I bit it and it actually said delicious. Like it whispered it. Like it shot into the air, like when you open a can and it has that like release of the air noise when almonds or whatever the fuck. I bit into the thing, it was like delicious. It just went into the air, into the ether. It just escaped. The deliciousness, just the very essence of how delicious it was, went into the sky for all to see. It was so good. It was just phyllo dough and cream and sugar and it was huge. And I bit it and I'm like, all right, well, I put it down and I'm like, wow, that's rich and amazing and so good. And so I stood up and of course I had to towel off. And then I had to dab away a tear or two because I get that way around pastries because it reminds me of the battles. And sure enough, I stand up and I go to my computer. I'm like, well, maybe I'll just go ahead and dick around and see if I can get a dinner reservation somewhere. And I turn the computer on and I start to rev it up and I turn around and I just look. And there on my bedside table, delicious. It's calling my name. And again, folks, as I told you, I'm in New York. I've been laid off of my job. I'm feeling depressed and sad, and the only person who understands me at that point is Napoleon. So I go over back to the bed, and I go, well, I'll watch a little more of the Sun Bowl. I'll figure out dinner in a minute. And for the next 15 minutes, I kept playing that stupid game. It was, all right, you ever been flirting with a girl, and you're making eye contact with her, and you think it's going well, but then you're also at the same time like, well, I got to slow down here. I can't blow this. I gotta temper it. And you're trying to make conversation. You're trying to be funny, and you're trying to be interesting, but at the same time, you're trying not to come on too strong because you want to close the deal, but you don't want to close it too early because you're afraid you're going to scare her off. That's what I'm doing with this pastry in this fucking hotel room. I'm playing coy with a coffee table sized ball of sugar. I'm batting my eyes at it. I'm like looking at it. I'm kind of like, twirling my hair and like smiling. I'm the girl in this relationship. I am the girl with this Napoleon. Even though I'm trying to, because you know why? Because that Napoleon knows. He knows. I'm a sure thing. I am a sure fucking thing. I'm going to wind up with my fucking ankles up right around my ears. And this is going to be one long night for me and him together. He knows. He knows he's got me pinned down. He knows I'm going to pollock the joint. Yeah, of course. Meanwhile, I'm batting my eyes and like, oh, you. So sure enough, I keep watching the Sun Bowl and I keep grabbing this Napoleon and then I'm doing that thing again. Here's how. Let's get into my brain for just a second, folks. I take a bite and then I think, oh well, I better even out the side of that I took the bite on. And I actually bite it and I try to cleave it to where it's like it's arranged properly, and so I go, well, it's the same size, it's not uneven. And then I take another bite and I'm like, well, I got to go over here and then I got to eat the back. Oh, dude, and I came around from the back, and that's usually that's my move. I'm not going to lie to you, folks. Usually I'm coming face first through the back way. That's happening. It's funny. I went and saw a girl with the dragon tattoo, and there's a scene in there. There's a horrible scene. Look, folks, it's a rape scene. I'm not going to lie to you. But in the rape scene, the guy goes face first through the back way, and in my head, I'm like, oh, you cheapened my move for a rape? God damn you. That was my move. It was always a surprising move. It was a move nobody ever expected. Holy shit, where's that coming from? And now this guy did it in a movie and for evil. He used my move for evil. This move, not the move. We all know the move, and that move's not been used yet in a movie, although I'm sure it will be. But this pastry's getting the fucking, it's getting the Lisbeth Salander treatment. I'm coming in through the back door with my face first. And And so this Napoleon's just getting worked, and he's excited. He knows that's what he came there for. And sure enough, literally by like 6:50, it's gone. It took 20 minutes for me to just tongue and teeth the shit out of this thing and finish it. And I'm just sitting there with like an empty doily, in a bedspread covered in vodka and me filled with shame. Which I'll be honest is preferable to the other way around. Although I've had a bedspread covered in shame too. Don't kid yourselves. But yeah, I just fucking Rooney Maria'd the shit out of that pastry. Oh man. And so I'm sitting there, I'm holding the doily and looking, and I should also tell you this, folks. I have, like I said, I had surgery on my stomach, and it was turned into a shot glass. It's tiny. It stretched out in the ensuing 7 years, but still, I also do a thing called sugar dumping, where I can't eat a lot of sugar at one time. And let me tell you something about the Napoleon from the Cake Boss house. If you were to put it in a package and you were to put directions on it on how to eat it, first of all, I would show you back way first with the face. But if you were also to have the ingredients listed, number one would be a lot of sugar. That's all it would say. A lot of sugar. I actually think there might not have been any phyllo dough in there. It may have just been sugar that they had somehow cleverly made to look like other things. It was monstrous. And so I eat it, and I got the spins. I got the fucking head spins, man. Like, as I'm sitting there and I'm sitting down, and I got like fucking sugar sweats and fucking head spins, and I'm going, man, this is not good. And I'm trying to relax. And the only good thing is I'm off for the night. I've been laid off from my job. I mean, this happened at the office. Who knows what Seth and Brandy would have done? So I'm just sitting there, and I'm sure I got like, if a housekeeper had come in at that point, literally it's just me with no pants on and cream on my face and sweating profusely. She would have called the police immediately and started looking around for the abducted child, who no doubt was taped up in the corner of the room. Because it was awful. Because I just looked like, fat half-naked pedophile in a sugar coma. So I'm laying there trying to recover my bearings, watching the Sun Bowl, and my phone lights up. I see my phone light up, not ringing. It's a text, and so I stand up and I hop over to the table. I don't know why. The pastry's gone at this point. I don't know who I'm fooling. You know what? Every time I eat a pastry, my ankle gets sore. It reminds me. It reminds me, folks. So sure enough, I look at the text, and it's from Brandy, our friend Brandy. It's about 7:00, and she says, "Hey. How would you feel about going to dinner at a really nice sushi place tonight?" And look, like I told you, I'm off from my job. But when she wrote that, literally my heart sang, and I mean literally, like it was just like if I would have opened my mouth to talk, my heart would have been like, oh, like it was like so happy. And come on, sushi? Are you kidding me? I would have been. Although because I told you before, she said she didn't like sushi, so it was weird to me that she wanted to go to a sushi joint. And I don't need to have sushi in New York, because I can have sushi in LA, whatever. So I texted her. I'm like, okay, well, where are you looking at? And she found a sushi joint that was close. It was, a couple miles from the hotel. And I said to her, okay. I said, I'll be honest, I just powered through that pastry you gave me. So I don't know if I'm going to be able to eat anything. I said, I'll go with you, but I can't say that I'll eat. And she's like, well, that's okay. Let me check with Seth and make sure it's okay with him. And she texted me back. She goes, you know what? Seth wants to have pizza tonight. And he doesn't want to have sushi. And because they wanted, one of the things I think I told you, she said, we want to go and we want to go to Little Italy. We want to have pizza, and we want to ride the subway at some point. She had all these single things that she wanted to do. So she wants to have pizza. And so I said, all right, well, why don't we take the subway? I said, we can do that. Where do you want to go? She goes, well, I don't know. I don't know where to go find a pizza. I go, well, you do know also it's New Year's Eve, and we're probably not going to be able to find a place that's open. And she's like, well, all right, well, I'll take a look. And so I looked. I immediately went on. I was like, best pizza in the financial district. And the first thing that came up, I went to Chow Hound at Urban Spoon. And by the way, that sounds like crime fighters who investigate crimes in kitchens. Chow Hound and Urban Spoon. There's been a murder. This man was poisoned. Call Chow Hound and Urban Spoon immediately. First suspect, Napoleon. We found him in his room. He had no pants on and cream on his face. Chow Hound and Urban Spoon on the case. So I went and searched, and I found a joint called Adrian's, which it said it got on on Yelp and everywhere else. It got like 4.5 stars. It said it was real good, thin crust pizza, New York style. That's fine. So I called them, and they were seating until 10. And it was right now it was about 7:15 when we're talking. So I texted her and I'm like, hey, I found this place, and she texts me back and she says, I found an amazing place called Lombardi's. And I immediately, because again, this is not my trip, folks. I'm working. So I immediately went, okay, Lombardi's it is. That's your joint. And also part of me wanted to go because I know a Lombardi. I wanted to see if her family owned the joint. Because that's how it works. Usually when you know one person with one last name, they own everything that has the name on it. It's like my friend Bob Stouffer. That guy is loaded. He's not as rich as Dennis Swanson, but still. All right. So, yeah, dumb. I know, dumb. Although I tell you what, that theory was disproven by my friend Ronnie Gatorade. Okay, so she wants to go to Lombardi's. I said, great. Did you call them and find out what they're doing or when they're? And she says, yeah, 10:45 is they're serving the last seating. And I'm like, oh, well, okay. And she goes, well, you know what? Seth's asleep. So I'm going to let him sleep a little bit because he talked about maybe seeing some. We could walk. He talked about seeing some sights. But my feet hurt, and I don't know how you feel, but I'm assuming your feet hurt, which sounded like she wanted basically somebody in her corner to say that their feet hurt. So, of course, you're paying me. Yes, my feet hurt. I can tell you one of my feet really hurts because it was hurt, I don't know if I told you, in the Battle of Little Creamhorn. Oh, it was awful. I had to hop up my elevator. So I said to her, I go, yeah, that's fine, whatever you want to do. She goes, all right, well, he's going to sleep. Let's get together at 8:30. So I said, hey, we can take the subway because I know they want to take the subway. And she writes me and says, well, Seth does he really wants to kind of walk and maybe see some of the sights. And at that point, I can even see in her text that she was not, she already said she tried the hurt feet gambit and everything else. So I just immediately texted back, not a lot of sights to see in the dark, Brandy. Subway it is. Like literally, I'm just taking control at that point. Because I'm not going to wind up again New Year's Eve. I don't know where the fuck we're going. I'm not going to walk around, whatever. So I sit back and I'm just like, I've just got a belly full of sugar and the Sun Bowl's not over. So I'm in my head. I'm going, man, what are we going to do? All right, well, we're going to go to dinner, Lombardi's Pizza. It should be fine. And I also don't want to be out in New York on New Year's Eve. I do, but I don't. Like it's just this weird thing. Like I said, young me is all over it, but old me is like, dude, just get another fucking pastry and go to sleep. Although I don't know where I can get a pastry at that time of night. Yes, I do. The Cake Boss has a franchise at the W Hotel. So 8:30 rolls around. I get dressed. I go downstairs and I meet them. And I'm like, all right, I figured out the subway. Let's take the subway. So we walk up to Wall Street. We have to hop on the station there. And the thing is, we get there to Wall Street, and there's a station, but then there's another station across the street. And, my phone is real good about telling me where I'm supposed to go, but it just says Wall Street. I mean, there's multiple stations, so whatever. So we cross the street, we go downstairs, and we pop in, and we go and we buy our little passes, whatever we're going to do. Oh, bullshit. That's wrong. We walked in, and the gate was locked. The little tourniquet, the fucking revolving door. And I'm like, what the fuck? Why? And so then this guy's like, you got to go across the street. Which is, we had been on that side of the street, we had crossed over, and then we go up, we look at the sign, and it says, you must get a ticket from across the street in order to enter, whatever the fuck. So we finally go over, and then we hop in, and I go to buy a ticket, and I said to the guy, I said, hey, we're taking the 6. I tell the guy in the little booth. So he rings me up, and he's like, $15. I said, it's $2.50 a person. He goes, yeah, you're getting 6. I said, no, we're taking the 6. And he goes, you don't tell me what train you're taking. So I got New Yorked right away. I got fucking New Yorked in the subway. You don't tell me what train you're taking. And then he does to refund it and do all that. And then he get, and I'm, so he gets me the tickets and we go and we sit down and I look and the signs say the opposite of where we're supposed to be. So I look at Seth, I go, I don't know if we're on the right side here. And so Seth and Brandy go over to talk to the guy who lives in the box because he's already yelled at me. And I start to have my Schmidt spiral. Okay, let's call it that. The thing where I get mad because of something I've done, and so I'm about to ruin the night for everybody. You know what I mean? Because I'm pissed off now that my Subway gambit is now a failure because I just got yelled at by that dude and I didn't like it, and now we're maybe on the wrong side and I don't know exactly. Whenever I'm put in a situation where I don't know what's going to happen, I get fucking mad because I want to control everything. It's like I tell you, if you're telling a really long story, just tell me the end first, and then I'm happy to hear the rest of your story. I hate not having control of the situation. I don't want to know it. So now I don't know if we're on the right side of the subway, and I'm trying to be the king, of course, because I'm working. I'm trying to show Seth and Brandy how much I know about the subway, but we might be on the wrong fucking side. I have no idea. And plus there's a bunch of douchebag penguins around in their formal wear, and they're taking the fucking trains. And look, I should tell you, I love the subway. I love the idea of it. I'm always constantly amazed when I go there. I'm in the subway and I look around and I go, somebody built this. Someone fucking built this. It's so astonishing to me that the biggest city in America, the largest city, is held together by a series of underground tunnels with trains that run and bring you there. It's fucking crazy. If you got to deal with a fucking homeless guy putting his dick in your ear, then so be it. I mean, I can live with the filth and all the nonsense that happens if it gets me from here to there quickly. Because believe me, I sat in a cab in Times Square for fucking 45 minutes, not moving. Hey, homeless guy, you look great naked. I'm going to sit here. That's fine. So I start to go into my Schmidt spiral. I'm like, fuck. And I actually punch the gate because I'm like, I just get in my own head because I'm mad that I've bought the wrong tickets and I look like a fool. And I didn't really look a fool. That's the thing is I didn't. But I extrapolated in my fucking head to where now I've let them down and I've let me down. And that guy yelled at me and now I'm in New York and I don't know what the fuck I'm doing and why am I even here? And, I think the sugar was wearing off at that point too, probably. And my ankle hurts because, oh my God, I don't know did I tell you guys about the Battle of Rice Pudding? Oh, Jesus. And I should have never even been in that battle. I'm in a pastry platoon. That's a full-on dessert war. I'm not involved in that. If you've got a sub-conflict like a police action involving pastry, call me. I'm in. But you start having an ice cream tussle, I'm out. It's not me. So I started to get freaked out, and then Seth comes over and he goes, "Yeah, we got to go up and go across the street." And I go, "Man, I fucking fuck." And Seth kind of like looks at me like, what's going on? I go, nothing. Just I fucking hate making mistakes. And he's like, let's go upstairs and just go across the street. It's okay. And I realized that I'm on the verge of ruining everything for everyone. So I kind of just swallow it. I put the fucking Schmidt spiral back down into my gut. And we go back upstairs and we cross the way. And we wait for our train, and our train shows up. It's awesome. We climb on it. It's amazing. Get on the choo-choo and ride across the New York. And I should tell you, the place was about 2 miles away, Lombardi's, from where we were staying. And they had talked about walking, and I'm just like, no. So we get on the subway, we get there, and I love the concept of this is your stop. We get out, we walk up, and you're in a whole new area of New York. God damn, it's amazing. It's like a video game. It's like a portal. It is. It's really like a portal to me, the subway. Like you get in something and then at fast speed, all of a sudden you're where you're supposed to go. It's like zipping through time. Only sitting in urine. So we get there, we go upstairs, and now it's New York time, man. It's like when I was there for my show and I went to Mapesh and I was with Dave and Aaron. That was fucking amazing. You know what I mean? We were walking all over the place. David and Aaron. I don't want David. He's not Dave. He's gonna be pissed. So we went through the city, and I love the city. I love walking and being in the city, and that's what we did. We came up from the subway station, and we're looking, and we're walking, and I should tell you this, folks. It's now about 9:00, 9:15, after the train nonsense, and it's 9:15 in New York on New Year's Eve. And, when you watch TV, they've got the ball dropping in Times Square, and it's a fucking zoo. I mean, it is literally millions and millions of people. That seems high. 1 million people. There's just tons of people. You can't move. It's just blanketed. And so in your brain, you think, fuck, New York is brutal on New Year's Eve. I'm here to tell you, we get off on Spring Street. We're walking to go to our pizza place. It's a normal city. I'm serious. It's normal New York. I mean, there's people out and there's people going to bars and stuff, but I mean, it's just like being out in New York every other time I've been there. There's not 1 million people wall to wall. Yeah, that's in Times Square, but everywhere else in New York, the people who aren't amateurs are going off and living their lives. They're going to eat something. They're going to a bar. They're living the way normal people do. So we're walking, and I mean, it's just fucking fantastic. We're looking for the address. We walk, we see the place, we walk in, and it smells like pizza. It's so good. And it's Lombardi's. It's just a fucking pizza joint. And we sit down, and we look at the menu, and they got more fresh mozzarella. I know Brandy loves it, so I'm like, all right, well, I'm gonna order that for her. And I try to figure out what they want. We wind up ordering 2 pizzas. Like it's so ridiculous because I wanted because Brandy doesn't like tomatoes. Okay, so I was like, well, do you want a white pie? And she's like, well, no, I can have tomato sauce a little bit, but it's like I don't like. She didn't want like a bunch of tomato. She didn't like tomato sauce, but she said she wanted to try the pizza the way it's supposed to be tried. So we got, a small pizza for her and then another small pizza for me and Seth to eat. Or it might have been largest. I don't fucking know. All I know is it was too much food. It was too much fucking food. But we sat there, and then the waiter came over to help us, and he was nice and took our order. And we brought, I had a salad with fresh mozzarella, got a couple of pizzas in me. I asked him if Joe Lombardi owned the place. He said no, so that was good. I got that squared away. Turns out I was wrong. The one person I know with the name Lombardi, her family is not involved. But we had pizza and we talked and we hung out, and it was great. I mean, it was like, because you know why? Because I genuinely liked Seth and Brandy. I was happy to be with people. It was like, granted it was my job to be with them, but still we had a good time. We were eating pizza. And I should tell you, when we were walking to the restaurant, we passed, it's interesting that this is in my brain. We passed a rice pudding restaurant. Dead serious. Called, that's a rice dessert or whatever the fuck. And it's legitimately like a frozen yogurt shop. It was a rice pudding shop. I don't know if there's a bunch of them. But when we saw it, Brandy's like, I have to go to there. I have to have rice pudding. And I'm like, of course you do. You only have 400 tons of cake in your room. I don't know if it's funny. Seth was nodding off. I don't think Brandy slept the entire time. She was on a sugar high the entire 4 fucking days. So we're eating, and as we finished eating, it was getting closer to 10 o'clock. It was like 10 after 10, or it was quarter after 10. And the rice pudding joint was open when we walked by. So I said to Brandy, I go, look, do you really want rice pudding? She goes, yeah, I actually think I do. I said, why don't you go there now? And she's like, what? I go, you and Seth go, and I'll meet you guys. I'll take care of this. I paid the bill. And there was a few other people sitting around us in this section of the restaurant, and they were playing, standards, fucking 40s and Sinatra and all that bullshit, Rat Pack nonsense, because it's, Lombardi's, it's a pizza joint in New York, whatever. So as I'm sitting there waiting for the guy to bring me back my receipt, a group of people stood up, and the guy on the radio, it was Sirius XM, and the guy from Sirius goes, yeah, you're on XM, 153, seriously Sinatra. And these 3 young people stood up, and they were like, oh God, and they rolled their eyes, and the guy goes, seriously Sinatra, that's why are we listening to this? And I go, you know what, they should actually call it Seriously Sinatra. And all 7 people laughed, like they were like that, and that's a good one. That's a good one. And even on the way out of the, clapping each other on the back, seriously Sinatra. Oh, that's great, that's rich. And I was just like, I'm hilarious. Even on the clock, even off the clock. So I go outside to meet Seth and Brandy, and they are forlornly staring in the windows of the closed rice pudding place. Just their hands and face pressed up against the window. And the thing was also it's one of those cutesy joints, they sell rice pudding, so they have to stand out. So literally, there's a sign, and again, not literally because I abuse that, but they swear in their advertising on the wall, and stuff like hey, if you want the best fucking rice pudding, it's in here. You know what I mean? Like that aggressive, and telling you fuck diets. You know what I mean? Like I'm just like, oh, okay, all right. We love fucking heart attacks. You might as well just put that on your fucking window. And then the weirdest thing was, the lights were on in the rice pudding joint, and there was one person in there. Like we saw her, and Brandy and Seth are staring in at her. She must have been freaked out, thinking we were rice pudding bandits or something. And she because she came out of the back, and then I was like, we gotta go. That person's gonna call the cops. And then of course, one of those random New York things happens again. This happens all the time when you're in New York, and you're just like, really? Of course. We're looking in the rice pudding thing, and as we're looking in, we're standing there, we're talking, and then that woman comes out of the back row, and a fucking van pulls up and just parks, and 19 Puerto Rican people just get out of the van. In a red zone. Like they just parked their van, and they just started getting out. And it was like a clown car of Puerto Ricans. They just do. They just come, and from small to big, they just come filing out, and they're just getting out. And then, there's an infant, and then there's an 18-year-old. It's just that thing where you're like, are you all a family? Or did coyotes just smuggle you in from Maine? Fucking insane. They're like they were the Puerto Rican family from Canada that snuck into America. And they just kept unloading out of the van. And I'm looking at it, and they keep getting out. They kept getting out. And there's like, there's a table and bedding in the back of the van. You know what I mean? That kind of thing where you're like, what, do they live in it? Or they're just moving their things? I have no fucking clue. But it's just that random shit that happens in a big city that's awesome. So I was like, well, we got to get the fuck out of here. And then who knows? They could be declaring war at that point. It could have been the vanguard of the Puerto Rican invasion in this part of town. I had no fucking clue. Let's get the fuck out of here. So we walk and we split. We go to the subway and we're just living fucking New York, man. It was so great. So by the time we go down, we get on the subway and I find the right station. We finally get in and the Schmitz-Weierl does not appear, and we take the train back to where we're going. And then there's nobody in our part of town. We get back to the hotels and stuff it was about 11:20, I think, and they were like, well, do you want to just like come upstairs and we'll hang out until the fucking the ball drops or whatever. And I said, yeah, I guess so. I'm not doing nothing. Let's go. So we go into their hotel, and with the W, again, you have to take, there's a ground floor with just elevators, nothing else. You take that up to the 5th floor where you check in, but it's attached to the lounge and the bar, as I described. So the fucking elevator opens, and it is just music, like loud, and there's a bunch of people partying in this lounge, in the W, which seems sad to me. But we walked in, and then we had to make our way through, and Seth and Brandy both go, you got to see this DJ. I said, what? They go, there's a DJ. You got to see him. We saw him yesterday. So we make our way through the crowd, and there's a bunch of people that are dancing, and then there's some hot girls, and then there's some not-so-hot girls, and there's just some old people. And all of a sudden, I look, and in my head, look, I know it's the DJ, all right? Look, I know who he is, and I know he's there working, but in my brain, I went, why is Alan Cumming doing a character in the middle of the W bar? This guy, he looked like, it looked like Alan Cumming dressed as Mark Almond in the Soft Cell Story. He's just got that face, that's exactly what he looked like, and he had this wispy, like kind of flyaway hair that Gene Wilder had in Willy Wonka, like that weird, like when he took the hat off and it was kind of wispy, but he had a full head of it, and he is playing the songs, and he's doing my favorite thing the thing I love more than anything. He's making the most serious face of all time. He's not a DJ who's enjoying himself. He's out to fuck you up with his sounds, man. He is coming after you, and he is armed with 2 wheels of fucking steel. You are going to walk out of there bruised and battered by Alan Cumming as Mark Almond in the Soft Cell Story and his hardcore beats. And I see him. I come around the corner, and I see him, and he's like posed. I can't do it. If you folks saw me, you'd know what I'm talking about. But he's making a severe face, and he's like kind of rocking his shoulders, and he's playing Montel Jordan. I mean, it's not like he's playing any cutting edge Deadmau5 or any of that nonsense. He's mixing the music that white people want to hear. And as we're coming around the corner, I see him, and it's like, because it's an older crowd, they want to hear like radio hits and stuff. And because you have to go through them to get to the elevators up to the rooms. And he's dancing and he's bopping around. And then as we come through, I see him do it. He's like bopping and he's moving. His hair is flying around, and he just stops and points at the dance floor. And when he does it, like the girls on the dance floor are like, yay! It's like he's like getting this charge out of them. And we go over and we push the elevator button, and I look at Brandy and Seth, and they're just laughing. They just can't fucking believe this idiot. But I want to stay. Now I want to stay and watch this guy because it's so fucking amazing. I don't care if it's crowded. And then like a song starts, and it might have been Toxic by Britney Spears. And then he has a guitar, like a Guitar Hero guitar, but it's plugged into his board, and he can play guitar music with Toxic. So he's like, come on. And he's playing guitar with like a song that has no business having a guitar in it. And people are still dancing. They're like, woo, and they're cheering for Alan Cumming. And I'm fucking dying. I want to stay down there, but I don't want to say to Brandy and Seth, let's stay down here. Since, they're a couple. They want to go upstairs. Plus, I don't know if you know this, they have 1,000 pounds of pastry to work through. And he's got 2 pockets full of roast beef upstairs. Oh, and I forgot to mention, they brought the leftover pizza. Because I asked them because I was going to settle the bill up, and I go, well, you guys don't want the pizza, do you? And they're like, yeah, grab the pizza. And I go, come on, really? They go, it's fine, just grab it. I went, all right. So they have like an entire pizza that they brought home. So we get in the elevator, we go up to their room, and look, it's weird. I'm not going to lie, it's weird. Because I'm still on duty. This is still my job, and I'm hanging out with them, and I'm having a good time. We've gotten to know one another, but it's a hotel room. Okay, there's a bed. That's all there is. There's a bed, and then there's like a radiator you can sit on, and then there's an office chair. Okay, and we go in, and Seth immediately starts getting undressed, which is the weirdest thing in the world. Takes off he takes his coat off, and then his overshirt, and then he takes off his shoes and his socks, and I'm just like, all right, buddy, you need to slow down. And also, I don't want to sit on their bed because, first of all, they're going to be in their bed, and that's fucking creepy and strange. And also, I know what I've done to bedspreads throughout this great land of ours. Who knows what the two of them have done? They've been there for a night. So I'm like, they get in the bed, and they're sitting there, and she's like, hey, do you want a cannoli? And I'm just like, I could probably shove a cannoli in my face at this point. And I should say that's the level of enthusiasm I have outwardly. Inwardly, I'm like, get that fucking cannoli now. Like, I mean, because again, as we know, I have a history of pastry. So sure enough, she opens the box, and it's only now that I finally see the full magnitude of what Brandy purchased at the Cake Boss house. She opens one box. There's fucking 6 cannoli in it. And I mean, and these are big, cannoli. 3 of them are regular cannoli. 3 of them are chocolate-covered cannoli. And then she opens up another box, and she's got like 4 Zeppelis and then these other like cream tarts. And it's fucking crazy. And then there's the 2 birthday cakes. And then Seth had those 2 pocketfuls of beef sandwiches, and then we got a fucking box of pizza. It's like, holy shit. If the zombie apocalypse happens, we will live for at least a month in the W Hotel. We don't have to leave this room. Certainly, I will hope that at some point Seth puts his shoes back on. But other than that, we're fine. And I will tell you that Seth, again, this happened. It's his room. He can do what he wants. But he took his shoes and socks off, and then he was rubbing his feet because he'd been out all day and he'd been on his feet. And then she broke out the pastry. She's like, does anyone want a cannoli? And she's like, come on, have a cannoli. And he's like, I'll have one. And I go, let me get mine first. Because I don't want him to put his foot hands in the box of pastry and accidentally touch the cannoli that I might eat. It's terrible, right? It's terrible. It's their room. They can do what the fuck they want. But they didn't pay me to eat foot hand food. They paid me to accompany them and have a jolly time, which I've done. So I reach into the box first, and I pick the cannoli. And now it looks like I want the best cannoli. It's the weirdest thing. So I sit down, and I go, look, I have to tell you, the reason I picked my cannoli, I have to tell them, is because Seth took his shoes off and touched his feet, and I didn't want him to touch my cannoli. And we all have a good laugh. Ha, 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 ha. Horrible. But I had to tell them because it looked awful, because it looked like Fatty wants the best cannoli. So I sit there and we eat, and Brandy then starts drinking. There's booze there. She had booze. She goes, hey, I apologize. She's getting booze. There's booze in the minibar, and then you've got booze. And then she goes, you know what? I want to go downstairs and get a drink. And we're like, because they get drink tickets every day when they stay in the hotel. So Seth's like, all right, well, let's go. So we went down back to the bar, which is awesome because I want to see the DJ. And by now it's probably about 11:20. So we go to the bar, and we walk around, and the DJ's rocking out. I mean, he's so great. And I'm actually kind of enjoying the vibe of being in a loud room with music. 'Cause I haven't been in a club in a long time, and I like dancing. I like hanging out. But Seth and Brandy, I could tell, no interest, none. They're using the drink tickets to get Brandy drunk. You know what I mean? Did I just say Brittany? Is that Brandy? Because I keep in my head, if for some reason I'm transposing them. I don't know who Brittany is, by the way. It's another girl I was on in New York. So then they go to get their drink, and as they're getting their drink, there's a girl at the bar who keeps looking at me and smiling, and she's like really cute. So I, of course, then decide that I'm going to be James Dean and lean against the wall. I don't know why I did it, but I did. And I did, and I put my hands in my pockets, and I leaned against the wall, and I just kind of like looked at her, and she's looking at me, and I'm looking at her, and I kind of smile at her, and she smiles at me, and she's alone, like she's solo at the bar, and she's really hot, like she's really cute. And in my head, I'm like, what are you doing, stupid? That's dumb. I'm going to invite her up for beef sandwiches? Which, by the way, that will not sound good if Seth and I are standing next to one another, and I go, hey, would you like to come upstairs to our room for a beef sandwich? Hey, can I show you my cannoli? It's upstairs. Oh. Would you like something cream-filled? I happen to have that just a couple of floors up. Nothing good is going to sound good coming out of my mouth. And besides, I don't want it. What am I doing? But it doesn't matter. You go into that mode. You're in a bar, you hear music, and some girl looks at you. All of a sudden, you're like, hey, yeah, I'm 18, right? I'm 18. 18 seems low. But I'm, kind of, she's like, she's not eye fucking me, but we're certainly making eye contact and looking at one another. And in my head, so I immediately do the math, like that quick math of like, why is a girl alone at a bar at New Year's Eve? And in my head, either A, she's a hooker and she's working, or B, she's fucking one of the bartenders. That's the only reason she would be there. But she keeps looking at me and smiling, which is weird. So Seth and Brandy are getting their drink, and I'm James Deaning it against the fucking wall. I'm over on the Boulevard of Broken Dreams. I can't be bothered. And I imagine in my head, I'm just like, I imagine how cool I look. Oh, it's so bad, so dumb. That's what you do when you're 44. You're like, oh, I remember when I was 21. What did I do? What did I do when a girl looked at me? Stupid. So sure enough, I'm leaning against the wall, and they're getting their drinks, and Brandy's getting, fucking 9 vodka martinis. Or no, she drinks something like, it might have been Long Island's. I don't know what the fuck they were. But they're getting them, and I'm looking at this chick. And as he finishes giving them their drinks, they walk over to me, and we're talking. And I'm like, well, you guys want to stay down here? You want to go upstairs? And they're like, no, we're going to go back upstairs. Let's just go back up. And I'm like, all right, well, let's hear the rest of this song. And the song was playing, and we're looking, and I'm making the chick at the bar is making eye contact with me. And then she looks over, and the bartender leans over to talk to her, and she looks up to him, and he leans over and he kisses her. Ha! I knew from many years of bouncing and working in bars, the only reason a hot girl's alone at the bar is A, hooker, B, bartender slam. It turns out she was bartender slam, although it still does not explain why she kept looking at me and smiling. Maybe because she went, why is James Dean here? Or maybe she just respects the military and she realized I was injured in the Great Battle of Fruit Pie Hill. She feels for me. So they get their drinks. We listen to a couple songs, and then they're like, let's go upstairs. I go, you don't want to be here for midnight? And as they do that, the woman comes around and starts giving us hats and noisemakers, all that bullshit. So I got a Happy New Year hat, and Seth's got one. And both Seth and I have monstrous melons. There's no way these hats are going to fit, but it doesn't matter. We jam them on our heads. And then we get in the elevator. We go back up to the room. And I sit in the office chair, and I, of course, get the remote. Like because Seth was working the remote. I go, give me that thing, Seth. Like, I'm so stupid. So I take the remote and I'm flipping between channels and channels, and we're looking. We see CeeLo Green change the words to Imagine for some ridiculous fucking reason. What are you doing? Oh, God. All right. If he hadn't written the song, fuck you, I would have written it that night to him. And so then we're there, so Brandy comes upstairs with her drinks, and Brandy gets into bed. Just gets into bed and pulls the covers up, and just watching TV, like, propped up on pillows with her, and she's in bed. And then Seth is over on the radiator, and he takes his shoes off again, and his feet apparently needed some more attention. And look, it's their room; they can do what the fuck they want. But in my head, I'm just like, put some socks on, anything. I don't want to see man feet. So especially because it reminds me of the injury I have to my lower leg that I received in the Battle of Crescent. All right. So I'm flipping channels, and we're waiting for the ball to drop and all that, and we're talking, just having a good time. And then who wants another cannoli? And I actually did. I wanted another cannoli because I'm horrible, because I'm not drinking, and I had no water with me. And they're like, get a water at the minibar. I'm like, that's $11. No. And they're like, but I still ate a cannoli with no water, so then my mouth is like covered with a cannoli film. Oh, brutal. And so then I'm flipping the channels, and we go and we watch the balls going to drop. And by the way, I don't know what the fuck was on television this year. We flipped to Fox, and it's like Rodney Carrington and a bunch of hillbillies, and they're singing country music Christmas songs or whatever the fuck, or country New Year's. I couldn't believe it. I was like, where is this America really, that they have to show that? And then we got CeeLo in New York, so we were looking at that, and then we flipped to CBS, and I forget what they had. They had like, was it they had Fergie? Or no, it was NBC had Fergie throwing it to Carson Daly. I'm just like, wow, that is a mediocre tennis match right there. Although Fergie, Fergalicious definitely looked good that night. She really looked amazing. Her stomach is so amazing. Oh my Christ. God damn it. I see her, like, literally, you know what? I would go in the back way on that stomach. I would just plunge right in. That doesn't make any sense. All right, so. But every time I see your stomach, like, I want to cook an egg on it. I mean, it's so gorgeous and hot. All right. But why does it go to an egg? Why would I? Who knows? But that's the first thought I have. Her abs are amazing. Her stomach, oh, Fergie. So, that's Stacy, by the way. You know her. S to the T to the AC. All right, never mind. So, we watch the ball drop and we count it down. Yay! Exciting hugs all around. Don't touch me with your hand, Seth. And Brandy's in bed, and I like kind of leaned over and like, yay, and gave her like a hug. Because I didn't want her to get out of bed. She's drinking and comfortable. So the ball drops and I sit down and literally at CBS, this is not a joke. The ball drops and they're like, "Yay, Happy New Year, New York." And immediately they go to CSI. like it cuts to a CSI episode that starts and Seth even went, "That's CSI. Like, why is that happening?" Because then I tried to flip channels and then the country music show ended on Fox and they started to show like a Seinfeld rerun. And ABC stayed with it and NBC stayed with it, sort of some New Year's coverage. But then even that ended by 12:30. All of New Year's was wrapped up. It was finished. And so I looked at the two of them and they're like, all right, well, so we're ready for, tomorrow we're going to hang out, right? I said, yeah, definitely. Unless you want to hang out with your friend or whatever. She goes, no, we're in tomorrow. I go, you know what we're doing? She goes, yeah, I have a general idea. I said, what time? She goes, well, we're pretty beat after today. And it's been a whirlwind couple of days. I go, well, let's sleep in tomorrow. Let's do it. She goes, well, okay, well, like, yeah, probably 9. Does 9 work? And I'm like, 9 is not sleeping in. I don't know where you're from. I go, just sleep in. Let's relax. I go, let's call it 11. Let's sleep till 11. I go, let's get together at noon and you guys sleep till 11. We'll do that. And she's like, all right, we'll try to make it work. I don't know if we can, but yeah, we'll do that. And I'm like, okay, fine. I say my goodbyes to them. And I went down to the bar and I've got my Happy New Year hat on, of course. I walk into the bar and I immediately go over to that bar to see if that girl is still there for some reason. I wanted to make a couple more eye contacts with James Dean. And I looked, but she was not there. And I don't know if the bartender had squired her away. And I looked around, and the room was kind of, it was still loud, but not as loud. And the DJ, he wasn't there. I think he was on a break. I don't know. And I was like, well, I can't fucking hang out here. This is ridiculous. What are you doing? You're alone. And so I did. I split. I went over to my hotel, made my way through all the douchebag penguins that were out front there as they, Happy New Year, screaming. And, they're, covered in fucking champagne vinaigrette from their $341 dinner. And I made my way in, and I went upstairs, and I immediately turned on ESPN to see highlights of the Sun Bowl. And I threw open my computer. I went and surfed the web a little bit, tried to figure out some scores. And, because I can't just go to bed. I mean, I wanted to, but I can't. My hours are fucking weird. So I stayed up until about 5. There's nothing I could do. I mean, it was just, I was in there and, I was full of cannoli and sugar and everything else. So I hung out, watched SportsCenter, watched the Food Network. I watched that all night as I watched Guy Fieri usher in the new year, making fucking club sandwiches with people and, frying bacon and whatever else he does. And then I finally crashed at 5 and got up at 10:30, hopped in the shower. Got out, saw the text from Brandy. She's like, hey, we finally made it till 11. We got up a couple times, but we made sure we stayed in bed. So now I'm like their dad. Like I made them stay in bed until 11. And she goes, all right, so let's get ready at noon. Let's do this. And I go, okay, do you know where we're going? Like immediately. She's like, yeah, I know what we're going to do with the subway. I've got it figured out. And I said, okay. So I went downstairs, met them at noon. They're bright-eyed. They're bushy-tailed. Seth is wearing shoes. Thank God. Because again, he's out in public. That's fine. In his room, he can do whatever the fuck he wants. You want to Fred Flintstone it up in your room? Go ahead. Just don't touch my pastry. So she's like, all right, we're walking this way. We walk over to get on the subway. She wants to take the subway, which is a little refreshing considering Brandy yesterday didn't want to get out of the cab and take the subway. Although I understood her logic later, but I was pissed at the time. Oh, was I fucking mad? I put myself in her hands because this is the knockaround day. Where basically she just wants to fuck around. And I'm like, all right, man, this is your deal. Whatever you want to do, I'm in. Because again, this is my job. So I hop on the subway. We're rolling. We're moving. And we are taking it up to, I forget the fucking street. All I know is that, she's like, I said, where are we going? She goes, we're going to Chinatown. I said, great. Because she had wanted to go to Chinatown. She mentioned Little Italy, all these different things. And I said, fine. I had called Little Italy and all these places, and everything was supposedly closed on New Year's Day. But if you want to go up there, have at it. So we get off the subway, and we walk like half a block, and I just see big Chinese characters. Like I'm like, aha, yeah, Chinatown. I'm like, well, this might not be Chinatown. But then Roman Polanski came up and cut open my nose. So he put a switchblade up my nose and sliced it. So I was like, yep, Chinatown. So we go walking around and, we're looking at, we cross the street. We're in Chinatown maybe a minute. And we go across the street and then we take a right down, fuck, I wish I could remember the name of the street. Son of a bitch. But we're by Mulberry Street. We're by, those streets. So we turn right, and Brandy is down there because Brandy, last time she was in New York, she found a ton of bargains in Chinatown. She wants to buy, Prada bags, and, she wants to buy knockoffs is what she wants to buy. And I'm like, good. I don't know how that's going to work. I hope you've got bail. I have no idea, That's fine. Again, you've hired me. I hope I didn't take all of your bail money. So we cross the street and we take a right and we walk. This is not even a joke. We walk 15 steps, and then there's a food cart. And look, I got to tell you, I have been to New York now. This is the third time I've been, and total in New York, I've been like 8 days in 3 trips, and I still have not eaten off of a food cart. Like, I've walked past falafel carts, I've walked past everybody, and oh my God, I so badly want to eat off of a food cart. So badly. So we walk, and there's a fucking food cart in Chinatown, and they're making Chinese food. Like they've got like fried plantains, and then they've got shrimp on a stick, and then in my head I'm just literally, there's only one thing I want, folks: egg rolls. Because you know what you can't get in California? Egg rolls. Oh, you can get spring rolls, which are little bullshit like Asian taquitos. Fuck that. I want an egg roll. I want a baseball bat filled with fucking shredded vegetables. That's what I want. And fry the fuck out of it. God damn it. You know what? You know that pastry I ate the day before made out of sugar? I want the same thing made out of grease right now. And Chinese ingredients. I want to bite into it and a dissident poet tumbles out of it onto the ground.
Oh my God.
I just made that up. That's how I wanted. I wanted huge and big and greasy, and filled with contempt for the nation. Oh, I want to bite it, and a dissident poet tumbles out to the ground. Fuck. I celebrate myself. So there's a food cart, and they're making all this shit, and they're frying it. They're frying the fuck out of it, and I just see a pile of egg rolls. Oh, man. And I'll tell you, that's, remember a Pride of Asians? That's the term, a pile of egg rolls. That's what you should always have at all times. I want to be within 10 feet of a pile of egg rolls at all point in my life. So I see it, and I'm like, oh, my God. What? And they said they had a shrimp egg roll, and they had vegetable egg roll. I'm like, shrimp egg roll, done. So as I'm ordering it, I turn around and I go to Seth and Brandy. I'm like, hey, do you guys want anything? And they're gone. They had been standing next to me a second ago, and then when I got lost in egg roll land, as I dreamed the dream of eating that fucking huge greasy thing, and they're gone. So now, again, in Chinatown, I don't know where the fuck, as far as I know, they are going to wind up in tomorrow's shrimp egg roll. They've been abducted. And they're going to go to some chop shop and get stripped for parts. And tomorrow some unlucky soul is going to eat Seth's well-massaged feet. So I'm looking around. I can't find them. And I turn around, and behind me, there is a phalanx of Asians. Just like there's like it's a battalion. And there's like 8 of them. And they're in a semicircle. And I can't see what they're surrounding until I kind of peek through. And I see Seth's big head looming above them. And I realize that Brandy and Seth have been surrounded by Asians. Which in Chinatown, we're essentially all surrounded by Asians at all times. But these Asians have closed in. They've closed ranks on Brandy and Seth, and I can't figure out what they're doing. And it turns out, I kind of peek over, and they are assaulting Brandy with pamphlets of like purses, Coach bag, and all these. They're selling her. They're selling her big time. And I see her talking to Seth, and she's talking to them, talking to Seth, and they finally hand me my egg roll, and at that point, I didn't even care if these Asians had, whipped out spears and stabbed Seth and Brandy to death. I got what I came for. My trip to Chinatown is complete. I got my Coach bag right here, and it's dripping grease all over my fucking hand. But this is what Brandy came for, and she's talking to them about purses, and she's negotiating, and I hear her. She's negotiating prices and talking. I mean, we're there a minute. We cross the street, we walk 15 steps, and immediately they're descended upon by the Mongol hordes trying to sell them knockoff bags. So I look at Seth, and Seth just kind of makes a face like, I don't know. He's Brandy's sounding board. And I see Brandy talking to all of them, and then turning her head to Seth, and then talking and turning her head. And And then I just walk away. Like, I want nothing to do with it. I don't want any part of the negotiation. I don't want to get sucked into I don't, like Tina Fey said, you never go with a hippie to another location, to a separate location. I don't want these Asians to start going, no, you come with us. And oh, Jesus Christ. But as I'm talking, to a guy by the garbage can who wanted to sell me cassette tapes. And it's so funny because, like, literally at my house, that's all I have I have like a ton of cassette tapes from I should have brought them to New York. I should have flown them with me and set up a blanket and made some cash. Hell, I would have traded all of them for a fucking egg roll. So I'm talking to him as he's trying to sell me cassette tapes, and I'm throwing garbage away. And then I see finally the Asians release their hold on Seth and Brandy, and they kind of drift away. And I walk up to them and I'm like, "What the fuck? What happened?" And Brandy's like, "Well, that's no fun." I go, "What?" And she goes, "Well, they're selling the purses and stuff." And I go, "Yeah, well, that's what you wanted." She goes, "Yeah, but last time I was here, they brought me into a shop, and there was a secret room. Like, we went into a back, and then they said, 'Oh, you want Coach?' And then they took me under, downstairs." And through a curtain, and I was like, well, in my head, I'm like, this isn't the Golden Child. Buy a bag. You're going to go down with Eddie Murphy and see a fucking half woman, half snake. Just get a goddamn bag. But it's her trip. I can't interfere. And she's got, the romance of how it went and the intrigue of the last time, and that's what she wants. She doesn't want just like 15 Asians accosting her on the street and going, here's a bag. I don't know why they talk like they're in a 20s movie. Were there movies in the 20s? What was the camera invented? I don't know. The perils of talking the speed of your head. So Seth, Brandy, and I, she's like, no, I don't want to do it, especially not now. We just got here. Like, I want to walk around and see. And I was like, all right, well, let's go. So we walk down, and I mean, every 5 steps, an Asian would walk up to us and just go, you want watch? You want watch? You want Coach? You want watch? And I don't. But here's my favorite part is Brandy, when we showed up and they accosted her immediately, and she's like, oh, there's no romance in it. I want to, I want intrigue. And, but still, everyone who comes up to her and talks to her, she's just like, what, watch? How much? Like, she entertains them, and she wants to negotiate and see what they have and hear what they've got. And I'm like, all right. So then we wind up talking to more Asians on the street, and I'm just there with Seth looking around, and I didn't give a fuck. All right. Because I should tell you this, we got really lucky on this trip because it was like 55 degrees. It was so gorgeous out. If it would have been freezing, it'd be a different story, for fuck's sake. But I mean, it was gorgeous. I don't care. Negotiate all you want. I'm having a good time. I mean, I love being in the city. I just love it. And again, there was that food cart. I was excited. So, and then we're walking around. Like I said, we're right on the main street. But if you go down some side streets, that looks like they got some interesting stuff. So we keep walking, and then we come to the first side street, and I'm like, all right, well, you guys want to go? Little Italy is over there, but we can go ahead and keep walking in China. And she's like, no, I want to keep looking around. So, we turn down one street, and we go walking down, and you start to see like shops, and they're selling cool Asian stuff. Like, as we're walking, we see a shop that's got a bunch of fruit out, and they've got like dragon fruit and strawberries for like $1. You know what I mean? Just these big containers. And part of me wanted to buy fruit, but I was holding out to find the knockoff fruit. I was hoping to find I was waiting to see somebody come up and offer me some snozberries. I haven't seen any snozberries here. Because and let me tell you something. If you're going to sell me snozberries, the snozberries better taste like snozberries. So we keep walking. We see the shops. We see the Asians were lurking. And then we take another left turn, and they keep coming to Brandy and trying to talk to her. And then finally, Brandy starts talking to a guy about watches. And he's like, all right, I'm getting this wrong. This was we went back a block, and then this guy starts to talk about her, and he's like, hey, you want a watch? She's like, what kind of watch? And he's like, oh, we've got plenty of watch. Come with us. So, of course, with this Asian guy, he grabs us, and we've got to walk with him all the way down to another street. And as we're walking, I'm just like, oh, what the hell is going to happen? I tell Brandy, don't go in a building. And she's like, what? I'm fine. I know what I'm doing. What do you mean don't go in a building? Because I'll never see you again. Don't go in a building. And I say this right in front of the Asians. Like, they know I don't trust them. So we go walking, and then this guy, we come around the corner, and there's one dude, and there's like 8 people around him, and he's got 1 billion watches. And so Brandy starts negotiating with him for a watch, and she starts looking at the watches, and she's, oh my God, that looks amazing. And she's like, well, do you have, I can't remember what she wanted. Like, there was a Chanel. She wanted a Chanel watch. And he opens up his thing, of course. He's got 1 million Chanels, and he pulls out a white one, and she's like, she wanted a white one, and she's like, oh my God. So she buys the white Chanel watch from the guy. And it's heavy. I mean, if it's a knockoff, that's fine, but it was heavy. It was as heavy as a bicycle chain. I mean, it was fucking crazy. It was as heavy as that fucking pastry I had the day before. It was as big as my Napoleon. And so she puts the watch on, and I'm like, why are you wearing? You can't wear the watch in the middle of the, because now, you know what? You look like you're in business. Watch, who wants a watch? But I didn't say that. It's all in my brain because this is her day, man. This is what she wanted to do. She wanted to come to New York to go to Chinatown and negotiate and do all that. And I didn't give a fuck. I was just happy to be there, man. And me and Seth are just kind of walking around, staring. So she buys the watches and she gets that taken care of. And so we go walking down another side street, and as we turn the corner, there's all sorts of people outside trying to get you into their shop. They're selling stuff. They're selling rugs. They're selling, hats, whatever the fuck. And there was an old dude, and he was like kind of crusty. And he had a massage parlor. And there's a sign that says Wang Fong Massage. I think it was Wang Fong. Might have been Wong Fang. I got no fucking clue. I took a picture of it and Twittered it. Look it up. And we come walking around the corner. And I think I've told you, Brandy is a massage therapist. Okay, she's a massage therapist at a spa. And so we walk over, and the guy starts talking to us, and he really starts oh, you guys want massage? Want massage? Why don't you get a massage? And I look at Brandy and Seth, and they're just like, I don't know. And I go, we're getting massages. And they're like, what? I go, let's go. And because it's downstairs, you got to go downstairs into like some funky basement. And I'm like, because in my head, I'm like, fuck that. These two I am making them get massages in Chinatown. Because you know what? This is what it's all about, folks. It's a trip to New York to do whatever the fuck. We're just banging around. Whatever comes our way. Well, let's say yes to it. We're saying yes to massages in Chinatown. So I make them go down the stairs, and they're like, really? Okay. And they go walking down the stairs, and I'm like, yes. Ha ha. So we get downstairs, and it's this total cubbyhole small. There's like 3 spots, all separated by the flimsiest of curtains. And in my head, because I don't even know if it's legit. I don't know if it's fucking Handjob City. I don't know what the fuck is going to happen. But I think it's going to be hysterical if fucking Brandy and Seth get massages. I think it's the greatest. So we go downstairs, and there's 3 beds. Okay. And there's I walk in, and the guy's like, oh, we get you a massage. And I go, you got girls here? And he goes, oh, yes, we got girls. Like, all right, I need a girl. I need a girl doing my massage. He's like, oh, yes, it's fine. That's great. We got you plenty of girls. So we go downstairs, and Seth and Brandy, it's so great. They look like they've just been swept up into a massage tsunami. Like they don't know. A second ago, they saw daylight. Now they're in a basement getting fondled by Asians. Like it's great. And I'm just happy to get them in the fucking room. The fact that they were willing to go along with it, I go, let's go downstairs. Because he's wearing the same jacket that had like roast beef in it yesterday. I'm like, take that jacket off. Come on, you want to rub your feet? Let's get somebody else to rub those dogs, Seth. Strip down, my man. So we walk in, and there's 3 beds, and there's 2 of them that are empty, and then one of them, there's a guy, and he's getting dressed, and he's tucking his shirt in, and the woman brings me down to that bed. And I should tell you, when he said you got plenty girls, yeah, there's 2 women working, and they were refugees from the rape of Nanking. I mean, it's like... somehow these women came over on a boat to escape some sort of, like, if they weren't rubbing me, they'd be off, building my iPod. I mean, it's like that horrible. They're like 60-year-old women. And I'm like, oh, so I immediately double clutch because I want I want a hot Chinese girl. Where's the sex trafficking? Where's the women who have been stolen from their nation and are chained in a basement that are hot? I want them rubbing me, goddammit. This isn't going to work. I don't want somebody who's good at massage. Why the fuck would I come to a basement for good at massage? I want to get a look at someone who just has to try to massage me to buy their freedom in 7 years. So I want to see it. I want to see it right, black market, right in my face. So no, instead it's these 2 these old ladies. So one of them gets Seth, and then there's a man, and he takes Brandy, and he takes her, and then in my cubbyhole, the one guy just left, and the woman she goes, okay, you strip down, leave underwear on, and I'm like, what? And she goes, leave underwear on and just lay down. So I look at the bed. It's fucking covered in oil from the previous dude who's just like jamming his, getting dressed. I hope it was oil. I don't know. It could have been vodka. I have no idea what that guy left all over the fucking sheets. But he had a big smile on his face, so good for him. So I look at that fucking bed, and it's awful. I mean, it's covered with stains, and it's got like all sorts of stuff all over it. And I go, well, you going to clean this up? She goes, oh yeah. Oh, hold on. And there's that medical paper, that medical paper. She just unrolls it, and she lays it down on top of the oily sheets. And she takes the 2 dirty towels. That's it. Like she just put paper over the oil. And look, my whole battle was just trying to get Seth and Brandy down there to get fondled by Asians. That's all I wanted. I didn't really even want the massage, especially when I saw that there were like 3 teeth in the entire goddamn building. So I immediately, so now at this point, Seth and Brandy, they have their curtains closed and they're getting undressed. And I go, I'm out. And Seth, I hear Seth, he goes, what? I go, you know what, guys, I'm not going to do this. You guys enjoy it. Take care of it. I'm going to be out here. My chicanery worked. So they go downstairs. So they're naked. They're at this point, they're undressed. And I'm leaving. And I go, do you guys want me to hold anything? You want me to hold wallets or purses or anything like that? And they just went, oh, I guess so. So Seth gives me like his big roast beef jacket and fucking everything else. I'm holding it, a purse. And the two of them lay down because it was I think it was $15 for 10 minutes. So I said, all right, guys, get done. I'll be outside. And I walked out, and then and by the way, when I said no, oh my God, you would have thought I said I'm torching the place, and all of you are going to be chained to the chairs. Like it literally, it was like I'm going to burn this place to the ground because they just grabbed me and they like physically grabbed me. No, you can't go. You must stay. Come on, massage. It's very good. It's very good. I'm like, I'm good. I'm square. My friends are getting taken care of. No, all I wanted is for them. It's for them. It's their trip to New York. It's their day. They're enjoying themselves. And then the Chinese guy who was upstairs, the older guy, he grabs my neck and he starts rubbing my neck. No, it's good. It's really good. And I go, no, it's okay. I'm fine. I wanted a girl, not you anyway. I'm taking off. And then he Vulcan nerve pinches me on the neck, like kind of puts some pressure on. And he goes, oh, you must be in pain. You're in pain, right? You must get a massage. And I go, let go of my neck. And he goes, okay. And he pulls his hands off and I go, fine. I go, enjoy it. My friends will enjoy it. Take care of them. I'm fine. And I emerged from the basement and went back to the street. And then I took my phone and I took a picture of the sign and I Twittered it. And I'm like, now this is happening. And everybody's like, dude. And then I took a picture of the stairway and it looked like we were going to hostel. It was brutal. Just this fucking grim. And but Seth and Brandy are downstairs getting rubbed. It was awesome. And I'm just sitting on a stoop upstairs watching some guy try to, all right, I should tell you this story. I'm sitting there and it's, it's the fucking street. So a guy comes to park and he goes to a parallel park and there's a spot. And it's a small spot for his car. But he goes in reverse and he just bangs the car behind him. And then he's kind of like I would say 3/4 of the way in. And then he pulls forward, bangs the car in front of him. Bang. He just pinballs his way into this fucking spot to the point where both car alarms go off. And he doesn't give a fuck. Bang. And nobody says a fucking word. Nobody. And as he's doing that, he's parking and it's bang. And I'm watching it. And then there's a bunch of people driving. And another guy goes to pass him because he's bang. And he goes to pass. And as he drives, he tears the rearview mirror right off a cab. Smash. Just comes rips it right off. Cabbie gets out, picks up the mirror and starts swearing in like some weird language, throws the mirror in and drives off. That's it. Just fucking collateral damage. And I was just happy that Seth and Brandy were relaxing downstairs with Asian hands all over them. Didn't have to see this. And the reason the cabbie, by the way, I should tell you this, the reason the cabbie got out, he's holding his mirror and he's screaming in like another language, he's swearing. The only reason he got in his car and his left, because a cop pulled up and went, beep, 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 like played that, that weird noise they make, that sting noise. And the cabbie just waved and got in his cab and drove away. Cops didn't care that he's standing there holding his mirror. Didn't even bother to check. Just like, get in the fucking car. He did. He left. So now, this 10-minute massage, we're at about 18 minutes now. So I'm like, what the fuck did they, oh my God, what if they're not there? What if they're not there anymore? Again, they're in the egg roll. They got put in the egg roll. So I I fucking hustle down the stairs and I walk in and they're like, oh, you changed your mind? No, I didn't change my mind. My friends are here. What do you change my mind? Yes, of course I did. But I hear them getting slapped. Like I hear like crazy slapping. So I know they're still there. Thank God. And I go, Seth, Brandy, you okay? And they're like, yeah. Like frightened. And I sit down in this fucking chair. And then they had a sign on the wall that said, no cupping. And so I took a photo of that and Twittered it, of course. And as I'm waiting, I hear them come in and they go, oh, you guys want to go 30 minutes? It's very relaxing. Go 30 minutes. And I hear Brandy go, no, our friend is there. So we're going to go now because we're fine. And they go, okay. And then they finish, rubbing them. And I hear them. They go, okay, you get dressed now. And they come out and they're washing their hands. These Asian people, man and woman. And Seth and Brandy come walking out, and they're just kind of shell-shocked. Like, what the fuck just happened to us? And I'm like, you just got schmitted. I tricked you into getting a massage. And they did, but it was so great that they were up for it. The fact that they said yes and then didn't run away when I left, they were just like, okay. Like, they just, yeah, that's fine. We'll get massages in this basement. Awesome. I love the fact they were up for it. They fell for it and they went along with it. So they walked out and I fucking paid for their massages. I'm like, here you go. Let me take care of it. And threw a little tip, little boom boom their way. And then the guy's like, he's like, here's a card. Next, if you get 5 more, it's free. I'm like, does this work for anybody in this neighborhood? I can't imagine you have regulars. You don't have regulars, do you? The only regulars you would have would be Chinese nationals coming in to see if your papers. So Seth and Brandy just kind of groggily wander out because you get massage head. You know what I mean? They've just been getting slapped around. They were getting slapped pretty good. And we go up the stairs and we come back and emerge into the sunlight and Brandy's like squinting. And I'm like, are you guys okay? They're like, that was unexpected. I'm like, yep. Awesome. I give Seth his giant coat. Let's move. So we walk down the street. We're in Chinatown, and they're massaged, and they're just wobbling. And we're talking about, and they genuinely can't believe it happened. And Brandy's like, I would never do that. I'm a massage therapist. I can do that at home. And I'm like, who cares? Now you see how the other half lives. Come on. I loved it. So then we turn down a side street, and then we see all the seafood shops. And it just smells like the fucking ocean and fish. And there are live fish flopping around in front of shops. And I took a picture of a barrel of frogs. Live frogs. I have a picture of a huge barrel of frogs. And then live crabs. They got like live crabs sitting there and they're struggling. And let me tell you, 5 deep outside of people grabbing frogs and scooping things up and throwing them in bags to buy and eat. Just like a lot of chatter, a lot of Asian chattering. And they're just scooping up, and there's fish flopping, like live fish flopping around, and then someone will say they want it, and I just, boom, they cut the head off. You know what I mean? I'm just like, it was awesome. So great. And so as, we're getting separated, we're looking, and I look up, and all of a sudden, Brandy, negotiating again. She's talking to somebody else. And she's winding up talking to them about something. I don't know if it's about purses or whatever. And I let them negotiate, so I figure I'm going to negotiate with Seafood Jones. So I walk over to him, and he's got frogs and crabs, and I go, do you sell insects? And he's like, oh, what? And I said, crickets or like grubs. And he said, no. And I said, do you know of anyone around here? He goes, no. He's like mad at me because I wanted to eat bugs. Like I figured if I was going to do it, I was, I'm in Chinatown. They got to be selling them, right? Someone's got to sell crickets or, any of that. Because, they had dried shrimp and then they had like dried whole fish. They had all that funky bullshit that they eat in the Orient. The Orient. Back in the 1920s when they had flying carpets and bullshit. Flying carpets is more of an Arabian thing. Well, Arabian Nights. Why do they work it? So sure enough, I'm looking for insects. I'm looking for bugs to eat. I'm waiting for a guy to come up to me and go, bugs, you want bugs to eat? You got a fucking, trench coat and he opens it up. So I walked out and I couldn't find any bugs. I was so pissed. So Brandy, we turn to the corner and we go up into the way and I'm like, we're just shopping. They're looking for stuff. And Brandy's like, well, okay, I'm still looking for things. And I said, okay, well, anytime you want to go to Little Italy, if you want to go to have lunch here in Chinatown, decide, whatever, because a couple hours have gone past. So as we're walking through Chinatown, we come around the corner, and it's the Asians from before who had cordoned them off when I was first getting my egg roll, but they're in a different location. And they see Brandy immediately. They go, oh, yes, you changed your mind now with the purse. They hold up the purse, and they go, purses, sunglasses? And this Brandy goes, yeah, you know what? I want sunglasses. They go, oh, sunglasses, come with us. Fuck! We got to walk all the way down the fucking block. We walk through, and again, the Asian is like, we're following them, and they're taking Brandy. I immediately, Brandy, don't go into a building. Seth is just, he's literally walking. He's carrying the money. Seth is the money guy. And we walk around, we go left, we turn around the corner, and there, sure enough, it's again, same thing. It's a different guy, but there's a bunch of people around him, and he's holding open a bag of sunglasses. And Brandy's like, you know what? I want Chanel sunglasses. And so he looks, and she goes, do you have any white ones? Unbelievably, he had the sunglasses that match the watch. So pulls out the sunglasses. She looks at those, and she's talking to him. They're negotiating price. It's like, he wants 20. She wants to pay 1. Goes back and forth, and I'm literally James Dean against the wall. Just in case a hot girl comes by, I'm leaning. I don't want anything to do with it. And Seth is there, and he's holding the money, and she's like, Seth, do you want sunglasses? He's like, I don't know. Poor Seth. He has no idea. You know what I mean? He's still got massage head. He's still groggy from getting rubbed down by an immigrant in a basement. So he's agreeing to anything at that point. She's like, "Oh, sunglasses? Yes. What? Yeah, fine." He's just handing over money to anyone who asks. So now she gets some sunglasses, pairs of sunglasses, and we've got everything's great. We start walking again. And, and I should say, we're not just walking in circles. I mean, there's other things to see in Chinatown. Like I said, there's seafood, and then there's more massage joints, of course. There's a place building electronics. Like, you look and they got motherboards hanging in the wall. You would imagine if you would walk in and say, "Build me a Death Star," they would do it. There's Peking ducks right next to the motherboards. You know what I mean? It's like that crossover business. Hey, you hungry while we build your Death Star? So then we keep walking, and then we come around the corner, and then there's more, of course, Asians with pamphlets, and Brandy immediately negotiates with them about something, and they say, "All right, come with us. We got to go on." It's like a ride. It's like all of Chinatown is you're waiting in a ride until you get to the front of the line, and then whoom, it's like you're on a roller coaster, and you get taken all the way around the corner super fast. And so we get taken around the corner again. They should just call it around the corner town, instead of Chinatown. And we come around, and now there's a woman there, and Brandy starts talking to her, and she's got Tiffany stuff. So Brandy is looking at Tiffany rings and Tiffany earrings and Tiffany necklaces, and she finds some rings that she really likes, and Seth is just there handing money to her, and then they're buying that and spending cash, and she winds up buying like these Tiffany rings that were linked kind of, but it was like 3-stack. It was amazing. It was really beautiful. And then she's sent out sunglasses, she's out watch, she's buying. I go, "Are you getting a purse?" She's like, "No, I think I'm just gonna stick with this stuff." I go, "Are you sure? I think we can find a purse around here somewhere if you're." And they laughed, and they're like, "No, it's okay." And I said, "All right, well, we're still in Chinatown. You want to go to Little Italy, or how do you want to do it?" And they're like, "Yeah, let's go to Little Italy." So we went to Mulberry Street, turned left, walked down there, and I don't know who was answering the phones in Little Italy when I called. Everything is open. Everything is open except the one place that I was told was the best place in Little Italy. But we walked down, and I go, "Do you guys want Chinese lunch or do you want Italian lunch?" And they voted Italian lunch, which we had pizza the night before. You're in fucking Chinatown in New York. I mean, let's eat some Chinese food, right? Doesn't that seem to make sense? But again, look, this is my job. I got to go wherever they want me to go. So we walked through Little Italy, and there's a restaurant that was the second best place, I was told. I, of course, don't remember the name. I can't remember it right now, but I saw it, and it was open. And, I should tell you, first of all, we were walking a street cart of cannoli. I go, "Look, I'm getting a cannoli from the street. I don't care." And they're like, "Okay." So we got like a hazelnut cannoli and a raspberry cannoli, and then I got pistachio cannoli. And they were small, little ones. They were like cannoli taquitos. They were tiny ones. But we got those, and we ate those as we looked for a restaurant, because I'm fat. And finally we find this joint, and we go in, we sit down, and I should tell you this. Brandy, she had told me when she wanted to go to Little Italy, did I tell you this? She goes, "I want to go to the place that's outside." I'm like, "What are you talking about?" She's like, "Well, it's weird, like it doesn't have a ceiling or something. I don't know how to explain it." I go, "Okay, what's the name of it? I'll call them." She goes, "Well, I don't know what it is." I'm like, "Oh, okay." So we're walking around looking for a joint. I find this place, which is the second best place, according to what I've seen in Little Italy. That's what Urban Spoon and Chow and Hound said. I was able to pull them away from a case long enough to give me some advice. So sure enough, we duck into this place, and they go, "Well, do you want to sit here, or do you want to sit in the garden?" And we're like, "Well, I don't care. We'll go sit in the back in the garden." So we walk to the back, and the back of the restaurant is completely under a skylight. It's a glass ceiling. You can see the sky and the trees and everything like that. And we walk in, and Brandy just goes, "This is the place I was talking about." I said, "What?" She goes, "This is the place where," remember I said it's like outside, like you can see everything while you're eating. It's like it's an open air, but it's not. It's like there's no ceiling. This is it. I went, "You're fucking joking, right?" And she's like, "No." And I go, "Fantastic, unbelievable. Look at, see what I do for you. This is what I do. I relieve the tension in your neck, and then I surprise you by finding the Italian restaurant you wanted to eat at." Complete coincidence. So we sit down. They bring us the menus, and of course they bring us bread, and it's Little Italy, so of course our server's like, "Hey, how you doing? What's going on?" Joe Pesci from Goodfellas comes over, and we're looking at the menu, figuring out what to eat. And look, I should tell you folks this. I've been eating like a dick the entire time I'm there, but I can't eat too much food. So I start looking around at the tables, And it's pasta in Little Italy. I mean, it's delivered in a fucking wheelbarrow. And it's all, it's $28, which again, I don't mind the price, but I can't eat that. Like if I'm going to my house, maybe I can eat that, bring it home and eat it for lunch for the next 3 fucking days. But I'm on vacation in New York. I'm going to be on a plane the next day. The last thing I'm going to do is climb on a plane with bracciole and pasta fagioli and gabagoo, whatever else they sell. So the waiter comes over. They bring us the bread, and I said, hey, I said to Brandy, I go, they have fresh mozzarella. I know you're a fan. She's like, nah, not today. That's fine. And I said, okay. I go, and I should tell you, I'm ordering food everywhere we go. I order the pizza. They tell me, and I order because again, I'm their dad, and also that's my job. So I find out what they want, and I said to Brandy, I go, look, I know you don't like tomato sauce. Do you want something separate that doesn't have tomato sauce or Alfredo or whatever? And she's like, I can't believe you remembered that. I said, why? You told me it just yesterday. She goes, Seth never remembers. And she gives him a mean look, like kind of a pouty face. And he looks at me, and I'm like, great. I just got Seth in trouble on his vacation in New York. And I'm like, well, I don't have anything else to remember. What else? I don't have to remember anything. Fuck, it's tomatoes. Fine. And Seth's like, well, I remember sometimes. And they laugh. Oh, she wasn't really mad, thank God. So the waiter comes over, and I'm like, all right. So they wanted to start with like some, what was it? It was fried mozzarella, I think. So they wanted that up top. And then Seth had some, vagabagaboo. And she wanted some, that's what she wanted to order. So, but without tomato sauce, with Alfredo sauce. So I ordered their food, and then it comes to me. And he said to us, when he gave us the menus, he goes, if you're really hungry, there's Sunday gravy. We only make it on Sunday, and it's got fucking pork shank and cow neck and fucking chicken foot. And, it's got all the meats, everything you could fucking imagine is jammed into this pot, and it's stewed for hours. It's just, and I wanted to eat it so bad. I'm like, I'm getting Sunday gravy. How do you not? It's got all that meat. Fucking, it's going to be fucking amazing. You can get it with Alfredo. You can get it with orchietta or with a fucking. So I should tell you. So in my head, I know what I'm going to order a half order of it. I have to, because I'll never finish it. So I say to Brandy and Seth, I go, look, I need you. This is before the waiter came to the table. I should tell you this. I said, I need you guys to back my play here. Don't be weird. It's going to be weird for a second, but just don't freak out on me. Look, I already lured them into a basement massage. They don't know what the fuck is coming. So like, what are you talking about? I go, just back me. You got my back on this? That's all I'm asking. And they're like, I go, don't get weird when something happens. That's all. I'm just asking. And they're like, okay. So he comes, and I order all their food, and then I say to him, I go, look, here's the thing. I said, I'm staying in a hotel. There's no way I can bring leftovers home. Can you make me a half order of Sunday gravy? Because it sounds delicious. I really want to have it. And he goes, no, we can't do that. I went, really? You can't make me? I mean, it's just, I'm not asking for a special order. I'm just asking for half of the order that you make. I can't eat a full order. And he goes, no, there's nothing I can do about it. That's the way they do it. If you go back there, I got into a fight with the cooks. I go, I'm not asking you to get into a fight with the cooks. Honestly, look, I'll be honest with you. Okay, I'm on vacation. I'm staying in a hotel. I can't take leftovers with me, but I had that fat guy surgery. And he goes, oh, okay. I go, yeah. So I can't eat an entire order. I go, I could probably make it through a half order, maybe. I go, but it doesn't make sense for me to get a full one. It's a waste of food. I'll never eat it. And he goes, oh, did that hurt? And I said, well, I mean, I was under, but yeah, I mean, at the time it did, but I said, it's the best thing I ever did, but that's neither here nor there. I need to know if I can get a half order of this pasta. He goes, you're really going to make me go fight with these guys, aren't you? I said, no, you don't need to fight with anybody. If you want to send a manager over, I'll talk to him. Anybody. It's just, you offer it on the menu. I just want a half of it. That's all I want. Nobody has to come and cut my meat for me. Nobody has to sit with me and put it in my face. I'm an ambulatory human being. All I want is a half an order of motherfucking pasta. That's it. That's all I want. He goes, oh man, you're really going to push it and make me go fight with those guys. I'll tell you what. All right, let me put this order in. I'll get you later. I'll talk to you about it. He walks off. Fuck. So I'm like, all right, so we're eating. The fried mozzarella comes, and I don't want any. Okay. And he comes back, and he goes, all right, so did you decide? And I said, yeah, I decided that I want Sunday gravy and I'd like a half of it if it's possible. And he goes, I don't know if they can do that. I got to ask them. I can fight with them in the kitchen, but I mean, I'm telling you, I don't know if I can do that. And I go, well, you know what? Then I don't want anything. He goes, what? No, if you want something, here's what you get a rigatoni and get a meatball and get a pork chop. We'll chop it up and put it all together in a bowl. I go, look, no, I don't want a fucking food puzzle. All right. I want Sunday gravy because that's how you make it. It's cooked as Sunday gravy, and I want a half order. I go, I don't want to build a pot that's sort of like that. He goes, well, this will be less food for you. I go, yes, so would a half order of the pasta. It's like literally, I want you to hold it between your knees. Bring me the plate of Sunday gravy, put your arm in the center of it, and sweep half of it on the fucking ground. Just bring me a half order of fucking Sunday gravy. You got So he goes, what? So you don't want anything? I go, no, I want the half order. He goes, you're going to make me talk to them for that. You really want to make me talk? I go, yes, I do. Go fight with them. Go fight with them. Because, I mean, that's yes. All right. Walks off. And Brandy and Seth are like looking at me and I go, I apologize. But I won't order food if I have to order $30 worth of food. I go, I will never eat it. It's ridiculous. I can't. I won't. I'm not doing it to freak you out. Enjoy your lunch. But I won't do that. It's my own thing. And they're like, that's okay. That's fine. You want some of ours? I go, no, I'm good. I'm fine. Really, whatever comes, maybe I'll have some. We'll see. I don't want any of this fried cheese though, because that's death on a plate. So they go into the back. And then, we're talking and, everything's moving well. And then they come out and sure enough, they bring out the huge tray with the pasta. And, hey, Brandy, here's your pasta. It's and Seth, oh, you got a big bowl of the and they put that in front of him and brought me nothing. Apparently the tussle with the cooks did not go well. He just decided he never came to me and said they can't do it. He never said I asked them. He just didn't ask, and I understand. So I did not get lunch. So I don't honestly, I was fine because I had eaten cannolis and all sorts of bullshit. I was fine. Give my stomach a day off. So they're eating and they're like, "Do you want some of ours?" And I said, "I'll try some Assess." And I tried some Assess pasta. And then she had hers. Or no, I tried some of hers. She had a. So she's eating and she stops eating about a third of the way through and she's like, oh, I'm done. I can't. And I look at her plate and she's like, you want some? And I said, yeah, maybe I'll try some. And I look at her plate and I realize her plate is filled with tomato sauce. Because when Dad ordered the pasta, he was too concerned about fighting the gravy fight and forgot to get Brandy what she wanted for lunch. And the Schmidt spiral started. Because I ruined lunch. I fucking ruined lunch. She goes, no. She goes, it's fine. It's just, I've had so much grease the last few days, I couldn't finish it anyway. I go, no. I fucking ruined it. She's like, no, between the fried cheese and then eating what I ate, it's too much. I can't eat. I go, yeah, but admit that you don't like it because the tomato sauce is on it. She goes, well, I didn't want tomato sauce. I would have rather Alfredo, but it's okay. It's okay, Mike. And I'm like, oh, fuck. I ruined lunch. This is unbelievable. She's like, no, it's okay. It's fine. But I was inconsolable. I'm hating myself. I wanted to get her smaller Alfredo. I felt like an idiot. And they finally they bring the Schmidt spiral to a halt. They're like, we're fine, it's okay, we're good. So the two of them who paid me to come to town and hang out with them now have to make me feel good about myself. Awful. Because I felt like I ruined it, man. I felt like I hate making stupid mistakes. So sure enough, she pushes it aside. So we're talking, and it's like, it's gorgeous. The skylight is gorgeous, and the bread was good. It was just, it was a really fun time. It was good to sit down. And in the middle of it, Brandy picks up her phone, and she gets a text. And she looks at her phone, and I see her make this face, just this, like, that face. And I don't say anything, because I don't want to know. Quite possibly, I thought maybe the Asians had somehow gotten her phone number. You want purse? You want bag? Texting. You want phone? We got phone. See, works good texting. So she looks at her phone and she looks up at Seth and she goes, oh no. And Seth is just eating like and what? She goes, oh no, look. She holds up her thing and he reads it and he goes, so what? And she says, because she goes, it happened. it happened. And Seth is like, no way. And I go, what happened? She goes, I lost my job. And I said, what? She goes, well, I just got a text and it says, I assume you've heard from someone I work with. And I guarantee it, I'll bet the place closed and I lost my job. I said, why would you lose your job in a day? Like, you've been gone for 3 days. And she's like, well, no, because she had an ankle injury. She wound up doing some damage to her ankle when she was working out playing basketball. So she's been off for almost 2 months in a walking boot. And she had just gotten the walking boot off just before she went to New York. So she hasn't worked in a couple of months, but she's on whatever, disability. I don't know. I have no idea how it works. But the spa, I guess, she said the owner is just a dick, and he owes all these people all this money, and they were always working under the constant threat of losing the gig, but nobody ever thought it would happen, that kind of deal. And she's like, yeah, I think he closed the spa. So she immediately texts her friend, and she's like, is this about what I think it's about, or whatever she sends? And yeah. We'd been in New York from Friday on. Friday morning, he announced that the spa was closing. That he was closing it up and everybody had lost their job.
Wow.
And she looked across the table at the guy she paid $6,000 to hang out with for a weekend and was telling me that everything was going to be all right. I'm there on their dime, fucking up their pasta orders. Eating all their pastries, basically wiping my ass with their $100 bills, and she loses her job at lunch, the final day of the trip. Oh, man. And I felt like a dick, because now, believe me, now that red sauce really looked like a shit move, because this might be the last meal she could ever pay for. God damn it, I ruined the final lunch as an employed person. I ruined it. Ruined it. You had a job when I ordered that pasta. They brought a fucking tomato vodka sauce with a side of unemployment. Holy shit. So I looked. I don't know what to say at that point. Because again, the last thing I wanted to hear is, like, you know what? I'm rich. They don't want to hear from me. I'm working for them. So I'm like, wow, that's awful. And Seth's like, well, it's fine. We kind of saw it coming or whatever. And Seth's like, I might want to check and make sure that I have a job when I get home. And they laughed. And she's like, yeah. And she explains the place, explains the guy's a dick and he owes all this money. And a lot of people have come threatening to turn the lights off and all sorts of shit. She said, it's a constant battle. So we knew it was going to happen. I should be okay. But it's just, it's never fun to lose your job, certainly over a text. And I was like, yeah, that does sound awful. And then there was a beat, and I looked, and I said, we could actually, if you wanted, we could get an application from that place up the street because they know you guys already, so. And then I pulled out a $100 bill, and I blew my nose in it and crumbled it up and threw it on the ground because I'm a good guy. I think she was even too shell-shocked to hear that joke, like when I said it, because she didn't even really respond, So that was fine. So then we made it through the rest of our lunch, and we finished. And then I think Seth finished all of his, but then she had her leftovers, and the guy's like, "You want to take these leftovers?" And it was so funny. Up until then, she'd been taking them from everywhere we'd gone, and I thought it was ridiculous. But now I'm almost like, yes, you must have food, sustenance. This is your last meal. Learn to like tomato sauce. Bring it home. You're out of a job, sister. But she did not. She did not want to bring it, which was fine. So we left that there. And then we made it back out into the street. And we were walking through Little Italy at this point. Now she's got rings. She's got all the, this is after she bought the fucking Chanel watch and the fucking rings and all that stuff. I'm like, God damn it. It just seemed so awful, so terrible. So we get out, and we're walking through Little Italy, and we're looking, and we make a few turns back into Chinatown. So at this point, it's, I think it was 4:30 at this point. We'd been there, 4 or 5 hours. It was 5. It was almost 5 o'clock, so it was starting to get dark. And I was like, well, you guys, what do you want to do? Because they had, it was 4:30, I apologize, because they had to go to Phantom at 7 in the theater district. So, and I'll be honest with you, my memory fails me here. I think we went right from Chinatown on the subway to Times Square. I don't think we went back to the hotel. Either way, it was inconsequential. The bottom line is we wound up in Times Square because Seth, he'd never seen Times Square. And that's where the theater is anyway. But Brandy was like, well, let's go and we'll walk around for a couple hours in Times Square. So we got on the train and it was great because we get off the subway and we come upstairs and you emerge in Times Square. And if you've never seen it, it's ridiculous. I mean, you know, I can't even, it's Hollywood Boulevard times 1,000 with much better buildings, but still selling the same bullshit. You know what I mean? Just that kind of stuff. And it's like Venice Beach and Hollywood Boulevard had a baby. I mean, because there's all these guys, street artists and bullshit and food carts galore. So we get into Times Square, we get out and it starts drizzling a little bit. So we start walking around and I should tell you, Seth still has no idea he's going to Phantom. She's got him going to Times Square and she told him, yeah, there was something else we got to do and we're over there too. So we go and we get off the train, we're walking and I see a food cart and they're selling chestnuts. Now, I don't know if I mentioned that earlier. I had been seeing signs for chestnuts like roasted on an open fire and I'm like, I got to fucking eat them. It smells good. I got to have them. I got to try them because I'm I like legumes. So we go up and the guy, I'm like, you got chestnuts? He goes, well, yeah. I go, great. Give me a bag. And I was like, $4. And he starts picking them out of the fire or whatever the fuck he's got there. And he gives me the bag and it's still hot. And I'm like, yay. And I take them and I'm like, chestnuts. Ha. Seth and Brandy have not had them either. So I grab them and I open them up and everybody reaches in and they grab a chestnut. And it's kind of funky looking. And what you do is you peel it. It's almost like a lychee nut. Like you got to peel it in half and then you eat the inside. So I throw it in my mouth and oh my Christ, was it awful. Holy shit. Because first of all, it's like when you pull it out of the bag, it doesn't look like a nut. It looks like a baby's skull. I mean, it's like a shrunken baby head. And then you have to crack the top off and pull out the meat. Oh, horrible. And I thought it would be like roasted and salted and delicious. No, it's just cooked on a fire. Like literally they turned a Bic lighter onto a goddamn nut they found on the ground and sold it to me for $4 fucking. Pissed me off. And I'm chewing it and I'm like, oh, that's awful. And I keep biting it and it's grim and I'm chewing through it and it's awful. It was like eating a leather chair. Oh. And Brandy ate hers, and we all looked at one another and made eye contact. I'm like, that was terrible, right? Yes, it was awful. Brandy goes, yeah, it was bad. Here, let me have another one. Brandy eats another one. I don't know if that's nervous eating because she's out of a gig, but stop eating the chestnuts. So Seth takes them because I'm just going to throw these out. She's like, no, that's okay. I kind of like them. And I'm like, no, you don't. You're just eating them for no reason. Just stop. But Seth is like, I'll hold them. So he tucks them into the magic jacket of food holding. It is. It's like a D&D thing. He's got a cloak of refrigeration. He's wearing that. So, I don't know how many hit points Seth had, but he's got a pocket full of fun. Chestnuts and beef sandwiches and pasta. Oh, my. Pulls out a fucking huge coffee cake. All right, so we're walking. So then we're walking through Times Square and we're looking. It's amazing. And then we come upon, and she knows exactly where we're going, which is unbelievable. She got her GPS out. She's like, yeah, go up here, go right, go left. And we turn, and then there's the theater. And I grab Seth because Seth still doesn't know. And I got to be honest with you. I love Seth. He's a nice guy, but he's got to be the most clueless dude I've ever met in my life to not know where they're going at this point. Because then we come around the corner and all there is a pizza place on one side of the street and a huge theater with a sign that says Phantom of the Opera on the other side of the street. And when we walk down, it's Brandy's like, hold on, I'll be right back. And I grab Seth. I go, hey, take a look at this pizza menu. And I shove his face into like a chalkboard. And he's just this easygoing guy who's just like, yeah, okay. So we start looking at the menu and we start reading it. And it was a place called John's, I think, because it was another place that I wanted to go to on the list of great places for pizza. And they didn't sell slices, so we didn't get a slice. Meanwhile, Brandy's at Will Call getting their tickets. And Seth doesn't even ask where his girlfriend went. He's just like, yeah, this pizza. All right, dude. He's like... all he's dreaming of is going home and getting his shoes off. So we're there, we're looking at the pizza and that's happening. And then Brandy finally makes her way across the street. And so we start walking, which is great. And we go up the street, we look. And I should tell you, right by their theater is a Shake Shack. Oh my God, Shake Shack. And I've never had Shake Shack. I've just heard about it, but I want it so badly. So I see Shake Shack. I'm like, dudes, we got to eat at Shake Shack. And they're like, all right, well, I go, maybe we can do that after the play. Like, maybe you guys can see Phantom and I'll meet you back here. We'll go to Shake Shack. And they're like, that'd be fucking awesome. That'd be great. So we're walking down the street in Times Square. And then we go to major Times Square and we see everything. And I should tell you, by Shake Shack, like 2 doors down from it, there's a fucking a strip joint, like an adult bookstore.
Of course.
And I was like, but I heard they were all gone in Times Square, like they were all cleaned up. But I saw it. I'm like, oh, I go, dudes. I go, well, it's an adult bookstore. Everybody wants to go over there. And they started laughing. So we kept walking. We go over to Times Square. And we're in the major part of Times Square. We see all the billboards. Saw the Van Halen billboard, which was great. It's just huge. Everything is huge and big. And then Brandy's like, oh my God, the Hershey store. I want to go in there. So it's like 4 blocks away, but that's, we got to fight our way through traffic and through people, but it doesn't matter. We're making a good clip. And then they got they're filming people on the street and they're putting them on the big board. And then, and you know what? Before the Hershey store, Brandy wanted to go to the Swatch store. I don't know why. She already bought a Chanel watch. I couldn't understand it. I don't know if she was hoping to go in there and sell her Chanel watch to them in some way, or just flaunt it and like hold it up and like, haha, guess what, Swatchers? But she wanted to go in there. So I'm like, all right. So we head in, we go across the way. And as we're making our way, there's a ton of people and you're making your way across the street and you're looking, and we get out to the Swatch store. And right in front of the Swatch store is a guy in an Elmo costume. And I see him and I go, oh, all right, well, this is happening now. So I look at Brandy and I go, you got to take my picture. She goes, oh, okay. And I go, take my picture with my phone. She goes, all right, fine. I said, and take a few. Just here, I'll tell you when. So I hand her the phone and I go over to Elmo and he's got a sign that says, we'll pose for tips or whatever, pictures for tips. And, of course it's Elmo, so I can't see his head. This guy, I can barely see him through the little mesh screen. And I look at him and I go, hey, can I get a picture? And he goes, oh, only pictures for tips. I go, that's fine. I'll take care of it. He goes, okay, yeah. I go, do me a favor. You got to punch me in the face. He goes, what? I go, just punch me. Literally, just like when I pretend like I said something mean to you or something, and just jack me. And he goes, I'm not going to punch you. And he's a little Latino guy. Like, yeah, sir, I'm not going to punch you. He may have just said my name is Pancho. I have no idea. I could have misunderstood him. He's in an Elmo costume. What the fuck? Can't understand the guy. But I go, no punching? And he goes, no. And I go, all right, do me a favor. Can you put me in a headlock? And he goes, what? And I go, put me like in a headlock, like you're choking me out, like you're mad at me. And he goes, I don't. And I go, look, that's the picture I want. If you want a tip, that's the picture I want. I go, just do me a favor, put me in a headlock and pretend like you're punching me in the face. Do that. Can you do that? He goes, well, pretend? Yes, I can pretend. I go, good, let's pretend. I go, Brandy, get ready to take a picture. And so I crouch down and I go, put me in and I go, do it. Like wrap me up in a headlock and pretend like you're punching me in the face. So I lean down because I was like a foot taller than this motherfucker, I lean down and he grabs me around the neck kind of, and he puts his hand like it's too far away. And I go, no, dude, put your hand right on my face like you're punching me. And there's people looking at it and they're laughing like, what the fuck is this guy doing? And sure enough, he gets his fist right close to my face. I go, Brandy, take the picture. And she just starts snapping the pictures like, and I sit there and I'm like, oh, and I pretend that he's fucking punching me, and he's laughing. He's like, hee the whole time, and other people are laughing. And Brandy goes, I got him. I got like 4 of them, and I go, great. And I handed the guy like $5, and he's like, thank you, sir. And I looked at the pictures, and they were awesome. I Twittered it. I'll put it up on Facebook if you guys haven't seen it. But it's literally like, it's fucking Elmo punching me in the face. God damn it, awesome. Because that's what you got to do, folks. You see a guy in a costume. So she goes in the Swatch store and she can't bargain away her Chanel. So we walk back out. We go to the Hershey store. And as we're walking through the Hershey store, I told you they got the big board where they're fucking filming everybody. And there's a guy who looks like Santa Claus with a monkey on his shoulder. Dude, right now, punch me. Punch me, Santa Claus. And have your monkey stand over me triumphantly. Do it! And he just looks at me and I'm like, Santa, come on, seriously. Like pretend like you're shaking me and have the monkey just jump on my head. And he's not even paying attention to me, and just Seth and Brandy are ahead of me. They're trying to go to the Hershey store. And I'm like, And I catch up to them and I go, I wanted that fucking monkey and Santa to take a picture of me. And they're just like, can we go to the Hershey store, please? We've got an event this evening. You're aware of that, right? I'm like, all right. So I hit the ATM. We wind up going to the Hershey store and we get inside there. And they're looking at stuff. And it's weird because it's just Hershey stuff. But they got weird Hershey stuff you've never seen anywhere else, but you don't want to buy it. Again, it's giant kisses and monstrous stuff. And then they have like a weird contraption in the back where it's like the Hershey's factory, and 2 people crank they crank levers, and then they get a bucket full of Hershey's Kisses that they can buy for fucking $13. And they make it sound like it's a lottery, like you never know how much is going to come out. I think it's hilarious. I wish you paid your $13 and you rolled it and only like 2 Hershey's Kisses came in your bucket. Awesome. But instead, everybody's getting the same thing. And then we just, we banged around in the Hershey store for a while. And then she's like, all right, we got to double back and go to the theater. She says to me because he doesn't know. So we walk out and we're sprinting around and Brandy's like, hey, give me that bag of chestnuts. No, Brandy, stop eating the chestnuts. She's like, I'm hungry. And I go, yes, I know I fucked up your lunch. Please don't eat horrible chestnuts. You thought you were sick before? So she has another chestnut. And I'm like, why are you eating those? We keep walking. And finally we go down the street again where the theater is. And Seth, again, clueless. I don't know. He has no idea. So we come walking up and we walk past the entrance and then there's a line and they stop. Brandy stops in the line and he stops. And I start talking to them and he looks and she goes, do you know where we're going now? He goes, what? And he goes, are we in line? And she goes, yep. He's like, we're going to the play to see Phantom. And she's like, yes. And he's like, oh, that's great. He's all excited. I don't know how clueless the man was. So I'm like, all right. I hang out talking with them, and I said, this is kind of where we say goodbye because they're going to see Phantom, and I'm going to go back to the hotel, and then we're done. So I said, this is kind of it. And Seth is like, you're not coming to the show, and I go, nah, I couldn't get any tickets, and I didn't, it's no big deal, and so I hang out with them in line, and it's so weird. They start selling concessions from the theater outside. This guy in like a weird suit comes out and he's like, red wine. And it just made me laugh that a carnival barker dude is selling red wine in the street. And nobody was buying it, thank God. And I'm talking to Seth and Brandy, and I was like, I was sad, man. I didn't want it to end. We had a fucking great time. So now I'm trying to scheme and conspire and think of ways to hang out with them. So I'm like, you know what if I go, I'm going to go home, but when the play's over, why don't you send me a text and I can take the subway back and we go to Shake Shack. That'll be fun. And they're like, well, yeah, okay, that might be fun. We'll definitely hook up together because they were also nice too. They didn't want to say goodbye. So I said, all right, well, you guys, I'll just wait until the play goes in. And I did. I hung out there for, it was like 30 minutes until they started letting people in. So I said, well, if you guys are tired at the end of this and you don't want to contact me, I totally get it. I said, but I'll be up, if you want, and I'll hop the subway and we'll go to Shake Shack. And they were like, great, we'll send you a text when we're done. So, I hugged them both and said goodbye just in case. And they went into Phantom, and now I'm sitting there fucking alone. No friends. Punching out. Off the clock. So I'm like, all right, well, I got to go back to the subway. So I double back, and I go by Shake Shack because I wanted to look at the menu. And I cross the street. I get to Shake Shack, and I look in, and all the chairs are stacked on the tables. There's a sign in the window. Shake Shack is closed for New Year's Day, but we'll be open again on the 2nd. And I was furious. So I took a picture of that sign, and I texted it to Brandy. And I said, stupid Shake Shack, fucking New Year's Day closed. I said, but, I said, still, text me afterwards. Maybe we'll figure something else out. I said, okay. So I had to get on the subway. So I start walking down the street. And, they're in Phantom. It's like 7:15 now. And as I'm walking down the street, I come upon an adult bookstore, which is near the Shake Shack. And quite frankly, depending on how much money you want to spend, if you go into the adult bookstore, that could actually be renamed the Shake Shack. Depending on how you conduct yourself in those places. So I can't go in there. I just got to get a subway and go home. So I go in there. And I love the fact that the second I'm alone, I immediately find Vice. I mean, I have not been away from them for fucking 6 minutes. And I'm standing in a porn house. So I start looking around, and it was weird. There was a ton of people in there, men and women, and I needed to use the restroom. I was like, I go, you guys have a restroom? And he's like, yeah, downstairs. So I'm like, oh Jesus! It was clean. The place was clean. So I'm like, well, maybe the downstairs isn't so bad. So I go downstairs and I see a huge sign, "Welcome to the Gasement." That's right. They didn't want to put gay basement on the sign because that just sounds like a gay basement. It's a gasement. And so I walk in, and it's just nothing but there's a ton of gay, that's where they keep all the gay porn. And then there's a room with a bunch of, booths where you can go watch gay movies and all that stuff. So I'm walking around, and there's nobody in the gasement, by the way. Nobody working. There's a desk. There's no one in the gasement. So I'm walking around the basement looking for the restroom, and I open a door, and it's a fucking closet filled with like mops and shit. And honestly, when I opened it and it was a closet, I anticipated that the clerk would be in there. And maybe I was finally letting him out into the casement. Come out of the closet and into the casement, friend. So I close it up, and I go walking back, and then there's the arcade. So I have to walk in there, and when I walk in the arcade, there's the clerk. He's you can't see him. He's tucked into like the corner, and he's sitting on a stool watching gay porn. But I mean, what are you doing? But the thing is, he's not. It was dark. He might have been jerking off. I can't see him, but he's intently watching it. He doesn't say anything to me. He doesn't say, "Can I help you?" He's like into the plot. Like he's like, enough. I'm almost through with this film. Film? I don't think The Attack of White Chin is a film. I don't know why White Chin is attacking people, quite frankly. You remember his film, The Adventures of White Chin. That was an earlier one. Screw Brothers used to sell that. So I walk around the arcade, and I don't see, and then I go up to this guy, and I go, "Hey, there's a bathroom down here, right?" And he doesn't even talk to me, and he doesn't take his eyes off the gay screen, and he just lifts his hand and he points toward the casement where I just was, where I was in the closet. So I look, and then there's the closet, and then there's another door that has like duct tape on it, but it didn't have a doorknob. And then I open it up, and sure enough, that's the bathroom. So I head in there, use the restroom, wash my hands, boil my hands, duck out, go back upstairs. So I go upstairs, and then I was in the downstairs, then there's the level I came in on, then there's an upstairs. So the guy who had sent me to the restroom was like a security guard. I go, "What's upstairs?" He goes, "Girls." I said, "What kind of girls?" He goes, "Girls that you can go and you can watch girls upstairs." I go, "So like stripper girls?" And he goes, "Yeah." And I go, "Step aside." Because I got to check this out for myself. Stripper girls, what? So then I notice the signs. It's like girls upstairs, meet our girls, whatever. So I'm like, all right. So I walk up the stairs. And again, no one up there. It's like completely barren, except for one hot Latina girl. And she's sitting on a stool by herself. And I walk up, and she goes, "Hey, baby, how are you?" I said, "I'm good. How are you?" She said, "Fine. Do you want a show? You want a show?" I said, "I don't know. I heard there were girls." She goes, "Yes." And I go, "I assume you are girls?" She goes, "Yes, I'm it today." I said, "Okay." She says, "Happy New Year." I said, "Well, yeah, Happy New Year to you too. That's great. Oh, it's a drag that you have to work on New Year's, huh?" And she goes, "Yeah, it is." I go, "Yeah, I just got off." Which is probably not the thing you want to say in that place. But she goes, "So, do you want a show?" And I go, "Well, how much is a show?" She goes, "Well, it's $30 if you just want to come in and talk to me, but it's $40 if you want to see me spread my legs and masturbate." And I look at there's a thing on the wall, and it says, "Ask about our bed shows." So I said, "All right. Sign wants me to ask about your bed shows." And she goes, "Oh, well," she goes, "Well, it's a little more elaborate, and I'll have I'll spread my legs and masturbate, and I'll have toys and that." And I said, "Well, am I in the room with you for that one?" Because that was $60. And she goes, "In the room?" And I go, "Well, yeah. I mean, it's more. So am I in the room with you?" And she goes, "No." She goes, "You're always in that room." She goes, "You can either I'll be in there and we can talk, and you can do whatever you want, or I can spread my legs and masturbate for $40, or we can have the bed show for $60." I said, I said, "So for $130, you would do all of that?" And she just started laughing. And she said, "Well, I never thought of it that way, but yes, I guess so." And I said, She goes, "It's a really good show. I think you should see it." I said, "I'll be honest with you. If it's $30 just to talk to you and then $10 for the rest of that, I think you could probably charge a little more for that. That's at least worth a $20 bump to watch you spread your legs and masturbate." That's what you said, right? Spread your legs and masturbate? And she goes, "Yes." I said, "Okay." And as I'm talking to her, another guy comes upstairs. And he comes up and he looks at the sign, and I look at her and I go, "Get him." And I stand off to the side and I browse. And I'm browsing, and he walks up and she goes, "Hey, baby, how are you?" And he goes, hello. And she goes, do you want a show? Do you want a show? And he goes, well, I don't know. What's a show? She goes, it's $30 if you want to just come in the room and talk to me, but it's $40 if you want to see me spread my legs and masturbate. And she says, and he says, so it's 30 or 40? And I turn around and I go, for 130, you can have everything. And he goes, everything? And she goes, not that everything. And he goes, well, I think I'll do the $40 one. And she goes, great, baby, you go in there and then I'll go in here and it's fine and you pay me through the slot. And she stands up and he goes in the room and he closes the door and I go, look at you, got him. And she goes, I still think you should get the show too. I go, that's okay. I think he's going to wear you out. Take care. And I heard her, she goes in the room and she closes the door and she goes, Happy New Year, baby. And I walked downstairs. And I left because, again, there's no point. So I walk downstairs and I go outside and I walk up to find the subway. And just laughing. I'm like, Dad, what? Because, again, whatever. So 10 minutes, I was in a fucking porn house. So I walk up the street and I walk a block and then there's another porn house. What am I doing besides killing time? I duck right in. And again, more people than I could have ever imagined are in there. And I walk through and the whole point of this, you never get bogged down. You never make eye contact with anybody in those places. You just walk like you are single-minded of purpose and you know what you're doing. So I walk past dudes, I walk past chicks, I walk right to a staircase and I walk right downstairs. I don't even know what's there, but I'm going down. Let's do it. I don't know what I'm going to find out there, but I'm excited. So I walk downstairs, and it's weird. It's like half porn, half archival records of the New York Post. Like, it's so fucking weird. Like, it's a storage room for, like, old newspapers and shit. And I'm walking around, and then I duck around a corner, and it's, like, real dark, and I kind of poke my head, and all of a sudden, like, there's nothing back there. I'm on fucking camera. You know why? Because they want to protect those archival records of the New York Post. They don't want some wayward stroker to go in and jerk off all over some post from 1980. You soaked out a copy with Reagan's face on it. You're paying, buddy. So I'm like, I go, okay, just talk to this guy. And I turn around, I walk out, and I walk up the stairs, and then there's a couple of workers, and I go, hey, you guys got girls in here? No girls. There's a sign that said girls. And he goes, no, there's no girls. If you want girls, you got to go up the street. And I go, I saw their girls. And the guy just looks at me and I go, all right. So I walk out. So I've killed about 20 minutes now. Yay. This is, you know what? Remember earlier when I was like, what the fuck am I going to do alone in New York? That's what I'm going to do alone in New York. 10 minutes alone in New York, I fucking climb into a porn house. Idiot. And have a negotiation with a stripper and do quick math on her. For $40, I'll spread my legs and masturbate. What about for $130? Well, what? Hold on. Slow down with the numbers. I don't know what that means. Is my liver involved now? What? How many body parts do I get for 130? Immediately, cough it up. Let me ask you this. If I'm on the subway and it's going 80 miles an hour and you're on the subway with spreading your legs and masturbating going 60 miles an hour, how soon till we meet in Jamaica, Queens? So I leave and I'm in the street and I go to find the subway. I duck into a Dwayne Reed and I grab some water because I'm fucking parched. And I grab, I just grab a couple of waters and I get in line. And there's a woman in front of me and she's really pretty. Like, she's really hot. And she had a hat on. And I'm feeling randy, talking to everybody that I can imagine. And so she's there and she's got one earbud in, one earbud out. And her good ear is to me. And she's holding her stuff to check out at Dwayne Reed. And I look up and I go, hey, that's a nice hat. Looks good on you. She goes, thank you. And immediately puts the other earbud in. Now I know what it feels like to be New Zealand. Just shunned me immediately. I'm a good-looking guy. I look like James Dean in this coat. Puts in the good earbud. Done. I pay my stuff. Where's the subway? They go, it's right over here. And remember I was playing the cross the street and all that bullshit game? I'm looking at my GPS, and it's telling me what street to cross. So I go over and I cross the street, and in the middle of crossing the street, I stop because I go, wait a minute. this is the wrong way. And I turn around in the middle of traffic and everything. I turn around and I see the subway station, the other side. There's one where I'm going, but I need to go to the one on the other side. So I duck back, hop over. I felt like a New Yorker. It was fucking awesome. Came out of a Dwayne Reed with my waters. I fucking hopped over. I stopped in the street, went over, got on the subway, made eye contact with some fellow New Yorkers. New Year's Day in the city. Oh, it's fantastic. We're on the subway, marveling at the fact that these underground tunnels you can hop on and teleport to wherever the fuck you need to go. Genius. You know what's weird? They still call the stop World Trade Center where I was going, which I thought was funky and strange. But it's the last stop on this particular train. So I hopped out, made it upstairs, and then I'm in the middle of the financial district. I don't know where I'm at, but my GPS is telling me where to walk. I'm walking, and I should tell you this. Weirdly, there were people out selling stuff on the street, like T-shirts and fucking radios and bullshit. And then, of course, chestnuts. Guys are selling chestnuts. No thanks. And I made it through. I walked. I just, again, I love being in the city. You feel alive, and you feel like you're on the pulse of it. You know what I mean? It's just, you're not just existing, you're living. So I was walking and I'm looking for my hotel, and I was able to cut across, and I started to recognize where I was. There's nothing better than when you're in a place, you start to recognize where you are, and you just by rote memory, you start walking the right way. And I come down, and I came in the back way this time. So Shake Shack was closed. And as I got to the front of the W Hotel, in the basement or in the lobby of the W, they have a BLT restaurant, which is a nice restaurant. I actually was thinking of making dinner reservations there at some point during the week. So I popped my head in and I go, hey, and by this time it's 8:30, maybe 9. And I said, hey, what time do you guys serve till? They go, we serve till 11. I said, oh, okay, do I need to make a reservation or anything? She goes, well, no, we got a table for you right now. And I go, no, I have 2 friends, and they're going to be back here around 10 o'clock. And then the 3 of us will come down and we'll enjoy dinner. I just want to make sure, do I need a reservation at that point, or how does it work? And they said, no, it's fine. We're serving till 11. Kitchen closes at 11 o'clock, so you should be good. Great. So I leave. I go upstairs to my room. I text Brandy and I go, hey, just come back on the subway. We'll have dinner in the basement of your hotel or the lobby of your hotel, and it'll be perfect. Everything's working out. BLT's great. So she texts me back, fantastic, glad to hear it. We're getting on the subway now. I'm in my room. No Sun Bowl, unfortunately. Watching highlights of regular football and everything else. And I had considered that night when they went to Phantom, I had considered going to the Giants game. Giants Cowboys in the Meadowlands. It was the showdown for the NL East title on Sunday Night Football. And I just said to myself, dude, no. Because I would have had to get a car, or, I could have taken the subway. I took the subway to Yankee Stadium earlier, but I knew I was going to be with them all day, and I didn't want to brush them off at like 4 o'clock to get on, the train to go to the Meadowlands. It was stupid. I was there for them. This is my job. So I was like, fuck that. So I went in the room and I started to watch the game. Hung out watching the Giant game, waiting to hear from them. Finally at like 10 o'clock, my phone lights up. It's a text from Brandy. And it was 10:15 actually. She says, hey, we just went to BLT and it's closed. We walked up and they were still in there, and they said they wouldn't answer the door. And we talked to the valet, and he said, oh yeah, they decided they were going to close early. They closed about 9:45 because it wasn't busy. And the valet said, but don't worry about it. There's tons of places you can go. I know of a restaurant right up the street, and I'll just, they have a good deal with us, and I'll actually bring you there and just bring you right to the door. So Brandy tells me all that in her text. BLT shut down, and this guy's willing to walk us to another joint. And I was fucking furious at BLT. It's like, dude, you closed at 9:45. You're an hour and 15 minutes early. I get it, but you're in New York in a fucking restaurant. People might want to eat. What the fuck? Whatever. But again, I've worked in restaurants, and if you want to go home, you want to go home. Fuck. I can't yell at the guys at BLT. Yes, I can. So I come downstairs, I meet them, and they've got the valet. And I said to Brandy, I go, did you find out about this joint that we're going to? And she goes, he says that they have a deal with the W. I said, well, I just looked it up on the phone, and they close at 10 o'clock on New Year's Day. I called them. And she said, yeah, he knows that, but because we're guests of the W, they'll serve us. I said, okay. And the valet, I hear him on his phone, and he goes, why you got to be like that, man? And I went, oh, okay, we're not going to that restaurant. And the guy's like, but I have customers for you from the W. I mean, I'm telling you that you're ready. And if this guy was any ruder to him on the phone than he was to me, then I don't know how the valet didn't just walk over and beat the shit out of him, because he was a cunt to me on the phone. So sure enough, man, he hangs up the phone. He's like, yeah, you know what? They're telling me that they can't serve you because it's New Year's Day and they're closed early. And we were like, all right, well, what else is around? And he starts to go into his spiel, and I back off. I let Seth and Brandy deal with him, and I just grab the phone, and I start going, best 24-hour food in New York City. I don't give a fuck. Whatever's open, I'll jump in a cab at this point. It's my last night. Let's do this. So I start looking for places, and there's some places in Queens, and there's some places in Brooklyn that come up. And then I found I also didn't want a diner. I should tell you that. I didn't want to just go have fucking pancakes. I wanted something that was kind of New Yorkish. And so I found a place on 9th Avenue called Empanada Mama. I don't know if it was 24 hours, but it was certainly open until like 2 a.m. And it was homemade empanadas. And it got real good reviews from Urban Spoon and Chowhound. The two of them were on board. So I said, that's it, Empanada Mama, that's the move. And I said, I looked at them, I go, you guys ready for that? It's on 9th Street, we'll make the move. And they go, yeah, let's go, because Seth and Brandy let me drive at that point. Oh, and I should say that when I came over, I brought Seth like 3 shirts. Like I gave him a bunch of tour shirts, you know what I mean, that I had. So they came downstairs to meet me for the valet. They had shirts on. They had my shirts on. It's like, oh, dudes, really? Yeah, they had their Mike Schmidt tour shirts on. Yay! One had the Chicago shirt on, and then he had the... might have been the Denver shirt. I don't know what he had. Yeah, maybe. But then they said, it was funny because then they said, hey, some homeless guy saw our shirt. And I go, homeless guy? And they go, well, no, he wasn't a homeless guy. He got out of a car and he said he was a local promoter. And I'm like, really? And he started, who's that guy? And they said, he's our friend. He's a really funny comedian. And they're like, he's like, you know what? Maybe I can get him on stage. Maybe I'll put him on a stage right now. Give me his number and I'll go ahead and hook him up and book him. And I'm like, why are you talking to anybody in New York?
Did they give him your number?
I don't think they did, but they were massage groggy. You know what I mean? They'd just seen Phantom. Belly full of chestnuts and cannoli. I mean, come on. Don't talk to anybody without your dad around. So thankfully they did not give him any information. So we walk outside and there was a cab pulls up and I wave at the dude and we get in and he was this tiny little Asian dude. And we start driving, tell him to go to 9th Street. And he's like, oh, okay. And then he starts telling us a story about his son and going to school, but he doesn't talk to his son anymore, but he wants to. And I mean, I'm talking to him. I'm talking to him as a friend. We're good friends. And I'm asking him questions about his son, and then we don't listen. Like I literally just let him talk and answer, but I don't even pay any attention to the answer. And it's so funny. Did I tell you my favorite line that I said in a cab? I think I said it. Did I say it last week? It was the line where we found a cab driver was from Colombia. And as we're driving, he took like 4 shortcuts and wound up where we were supposed to be. And I said, God damn, Colombia, you're magical. and I wanted at that point to be Seth or Brandy hearing that genius come out of my mouth and just be like, he's hilarious. So, but this guy's just talking. We're letting him talk and he's speeding. Like, again, he's just driving like a fucking maniac, ignoring red lights. This is good for you. It's a better shortcut. I don't give a fuck. I just want empanadas without death. He pulls up outside of Empanada Mama. We roll out and we go in and there was a table right there for us. We sit down and it was full. It was like fucking packed except for this one table, which we sat at. And we sat next to Jersey Shore. We sat literally like New York and 4 people. It was these 2 muscle-bound fucking monsters that looked like they were wearing eye makeup. They were so gorgeous. And they were with 2 like fucking Dominican girls. You know, oh, that guy crazy. He cray-cray. You know that guy? And they're talking. I'm like, oh, Jesus. And I knew I was in New York too because when it was the one table that was open and I didn't know if they had friends joining them. So I looked at one of the muscle-bound dudes and I go, hey, is it okay if we sit here? He goes, I don't care what you do. Okay. So we sat down and in my head I'm immediately sizing it up. I'm like, all right, if there's a fight here, does Seth have my back? Is Seth going to be able to, because Seth, he's wearing his fucking, he's got 18 hit points with the cloak of refrigeration. He's wrapped up in that. And now he's got the new Schmidt shirt on, so maybe that gives him some more hit points. I have no idea. At that point, if a fight breaks out, Seth, just take off your shoes. Honestly, just take off your shoes and everyone will be horrified at the sight of your gigantic snowshoe-sized feet. So they come up, and we order some empanadas, and we get some homemade, and it's homemade, and they were fucking, dude, it's exactly what I wanted. I didn't want to go for fucking pancakes. I didn't want to have some fucking fast food. I wanted to have something that said ethnic and said New York and was homemade. And then they brought it, and we just, Brandy ordered like 2 empanadas. I ordered 3 because I'm an idiot, and I was hungry, and Seth got like 3. And I didn't finish one of mine, and Brandy's like, well, should we grab it? I'm like, no, we should not grab it. You're getting on a plane tomorrow. Leave this empanada behind. Yeah, but she got it. Sure got a to-go bag. Because she's like me. Like I remember I said I got to power through stuff. She's like, she can't leave anything behind, man. She's like, I couldn't imagine what their room looked like. It was just a meat locker. Maybe at Phantom, like maybe they had some like stuff from Phantom that they bought. I have no idea. But it was great. We finished eating. We got up. We went out and grabbed a cab right away. Again, the fucking city. It's like, it's fucking 11:45 midnight on a Sunday night. Taxi pulls right up. Tell them where we're going. We hopped in it. Head back to the W. And we got out, and moment of truth here at this point. We're taking off. We're separating finally. My job was coming to an end. So we get into the lobby, and we're saying our goodbyes. And I said, I hugged Seth goodbye, and I hugged Brandy. And she's like, we don't even have any pictures of all of us. Because I had taken a ton of pictures of them and had texted them to them so they had them. You know what I mean? Like on the Statue of Liberty boat, at Colicchio and Sons, a picture of them sitting there, in their nice clothes, and everywhere. I would say, you two get together. But there were no pictures of us. So Seth's like, well, let's get some now. And he goes, I can ask the valet. And I go, dude, don't bother anybody. It's fine. And he goes, no, come on, let's do this. So we squished together, like the three of us squished together, and he held the phone out at arm's length, and he took the picture, and he pulls it back, and he took a better photo of me than I've ever had anybody else. Because he's so huge. He's just a giant man with long arms. He was able to stretch out enough to get perspective and get all three of our heads. And you can see the Mike Schmidt shirts. He took perfect shots of us. And then Brandy stepped out, and there was one of just me and Seth. And she took that one. But then there's all these arm's length photos. There's he took 4 of them, and they're all amazing. And I go, dude, those are the pictures to put on Facebook. You got to put those up. I go, and send them to me. I want those. Those actually, I look really good in those. I'll take them. And he goes, okay, definitely. I'll text them to you. And so I went to say, hug goodbye to them. And then Brandy said, I just want to ask you, I know you said that this is your job. You said it a few times when we were here, but I just want to know if you had a good time. And I felt bad because I was only saying this is my job because I was being silly. Technically it was. I was hired to be out there, but it didn't matter because the second I met them, I got along with them perfectly. It was great. It was like hanging out with friends for 4 days. They were so cool and so nice and so accommodating and willing to basically do anything and put up with my nonsense. I'm talking to cab drivers. They think it's hilarious. I take them down into a fucking sub-basement to get massaged and fondled by Asians. Let's do it. They're in. I go to Colicchio Sons. I'm like, hey, here's a pile of snails. They're like, let's dig in and eat them right now. Hey, there's foie gras. You ever tried it? Nope, but I'm looking forward to it this time. Boom, eating it. Hey, I'm going to order 9 desserts. Good. I think that's exciting. They were up for fucking anything I threw at them. And so it wasn't a fucking job, man. And you know what? In the larger picture, I always say that with you guys, like meeting you guys and, well, it's what I do. It's part of the job, seeing people. You always hear performers say that. Fuck that. It is not part of the job. Being paid to be yourself has got to be the greatest privilege on this earth. And to have it be done, literally, to have them pay me to come to town and be myself and hang out with them, I have never received a greater gift. And that is not a job. To be nice to people, to be yourself, to be essentially, I don't know, idolized. I mean, that sounds weird, but that's what they did. They were constantly entertained by me. They enjoyed me. They had a good time. That's not a job, man. That's not a job. You know what's a job? Hey, for $40, I'll spread my legs and you can watch me masturbate. That's a fucking job. You guys can get me at MikeandMikeSchmidtComedy.com. You can be my friend at Facebook.com/the40yearoldboy. You can follow me at Twitter.com/the40yearoldboy. You can follow our friend Lily Von Stupp at Twitter.com/Lily Von Stupp or Twitter.com/MNTs. You can be her friend at Facebook.com/Lily Von Stupp. And if you'd like to write her a personal note and find out all about the fight we had earlier that almost ended this show 2 hours earlier, you can go ahead and write her at Lily at burlesque411.com. That's Lily, Lili, at burlesque411.com.
Zazzle.com/40yearold boy. Please buy all his stuff.
Want to remind you folks about the Monday Night Teas every Monday night at the 3 clubs on Santa Monica and Vine. That's where they keep it these days. Last week was a fun show. Who was on last week's show? Lily Von Stupp. She's the producer of said show. Lily Von Stupp, ladies and gentlemen.
It was Doc and Stumpy Get Laid.
It was the Hawaiian show, and you told me that the Hawaiian girls were hot. What'd you say?
Oh my God, it They did. They sang "Tender Boobies" to Tiny Bubbles,
Oh, of course.
and it was 3 just hot-breasted chicks, totally just slowly taking lays off till they were just there in little pasties with flowers on them.
Sweet.
Beautiful, but their dancing was just gorgeous. It was
Nice.
really pretty.
Cool. And that was, were you performing or hosting, or were you involved?
Nothing.
You were just there, though,
Yes.
cleaning up, taking care of business.
Yes.
This week's show, is it a theme show?
No.
It is a fancy Monday Night Tease show.
No.
Yes, it is. Always. Every show is a fancy Monday Night Tease show without a theme.
Okay, it's a fancy Monday night.
There you go.
Well, actually, there's not a theme, but there is a theme. I have 3 chicks from Chicago in town.
Nice.
Yeah, so that's exciting, and I'm hosting.
Oh, see, well, that's a big deal. Yeah, it is. Come on out, everybody, and greet Lily at the door and grab her ass and listen to her jokes, and you'll get in free. That'll be fine. It's good. Eventually, someone's going to grab your ass. You're going to have to let them in free.
People grab my ass all the time, and I go, "Hey, keep your hands off me, or I'll have the bouncer throw you out."
What the? Folks, don't listen to that second part. Just grab her ass and enjoy yourself. Go to town. Go to Ass Town. All right. Just fucking, you know what? Come in from the back way. Do it. Just Lisbeth Salander the hell out of her. Then she'll know I sent you. So that's, well, good. And that's every Monday night at the 3 clubs on Santa Monica and Vine. That's great. And you've got a bunch of shows scheduled for January. Any theme shows coming up in January, February?
February, I have 4. We have that 70s hoe.
Okay.
I love Mel Brooks. Doc and Stumpy Fall in Love. And then we have Buster Balloon's Playhouse.
Fantastic. We'll talk all about those in the coming weeks. We'll have discussion groups. We'll go to the library. We'll sit at rounded tables and we'll put our heads down and have milk. All right, good. I'm excited about that plan. Folks, if you go to MikeSchmidtComedy.com, please remember that you go to the Joe Business page. You can go ahead and buy products through Zazzle.com. We have mugs and mouse pads available for you there, a link on the Joe Business page. There's a link to tweakedaudio.com/40 where you can get autoerotic asphyxiation earbuds and also cock ring watches. Go ahead and pick up both or all. Also, there's a link to buy the download sets. You can buy year 1, year 2, and year 3 of this show, or you can buy them all together in the Lord of the Schmidt set, which returns has the Schmidt returns. I don't know. I fucked it up. I apologize, folks. It's late. But you can buy year 1, year 2, and year 3 separately, or you can go ahead and get them all together in one set, the Lord of the Schmidt set, available. And we just sold a couple of those this week. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. You can also donate to the show. If you want to make a donation, up in the upper left-hand corner of every page of MikeSchmidtComedy.com, you will find the donate button. That's a little Schmitty with his pocket out. Click on it. You can send a $2 donation a month. You can actually do it monthly, $2 a month, $5 a month, or $10 a month, or you can make a single one-time donation, if you would. I'd appreciate that. That would be great. And anybody who donates, I will mention you on the show. I've got to take care of some business here real quick, folks. I would be remiss if I did not mention this. There's a listener named Bob Perry. Bob's a good guy. Bob does not donate to the show via the website. Bob mails me money. And a picture. This time around, he sent a picture of himself. He's a circle with the glasses on. Good for him. And now that Lily's got that up on her fucking her grease board, so they're good for her. Yeah, that's big. Oh yeah, there's the one from Michael and Sandra, and there's the other one from Bob Perry. But Bob sent me something a few months ago, and I think I forgot to mention it. But I want to thank Bob Perry because he keeps mailing me money every couple of months. Thank you so much, Bob, for donating to the show. We really appreciate it very much. And I also got this in the mail. This I don't understand. I got a book. Someone sent a book to my P.O. box called The Breakfast Cereal Gourmet. And it is all sorts of recipes with cereal. King Vitamin, literally all these old cereals, and it's an older book, but you can make recipes with the cereal. The book is by David Hoffman, and I got the book. I don't know who sent it. On the envelope, it was from Better World Books in Mishawaka, Indiana, and it was wrapped in a shrink wrap, and it said, send to Mike Schmidt, Throw Punch Media, and I opened it up, and there was a receipt, and all it said was the Breakfast Cereal Gourmet, David Hoffman, and it had my address. It didn't have any sender address, so I'm wondering if Better World Books decided to send it to me, if someone who listens to Better World Books, or David Hoffman, the guy who actually wrote the Breakfast Cereal Gourmet, if he may have sent it. I have no idea, but it was just weird to get a book, and then I opened it up, and there's no thank you, no card. Literally just, I got the book with a receipt with my name in it. So if you sent me the Breakfast Cereal Gourmet, thank you, and then send me your name, and I'll say it on the show here, and come to my house, and I'll make you Trix soup. which I'm sure is in the book somewhere. I haven't gotten through the whole thing. But thank you, Bob Perry, and whoever sent me the breakfast cereal gourmet. And also, I want to thank these people who donated to the show. All right, and now Sam Buck. This was Sam Buck's second donation, and this one ended in 69. Woo! All right, Sam Buck. That's right. So Sam Buck ended in 69, his second donation. Now, all right, this is going to be interesting. Oliver Rechbein, I will say. All right. This is Oliver's fourth donation. All right. In the previous three donations, I have only said Oliver. Because he wasn't exactly specific telling me what to say, but or he might have, but I also did not want to chili dip that fucking last name. It's Rehbein, but he's from Germany. He was the guy who bought Germany shirts, and they had to go to customs and all that kind of stuff. So I mentioned that when I talked about him donating the shirts on the show a few weeks ago or whatever, Oliver Rechbein, that's what I'm going to say it is, Rechbein. That's my guess. He donated this donation and sent me a note and said, the only reason I am donating is to challenge you to pronounce my last name correctly. So, hey, Oliver Rechbein in Germany. What else could it be? Rabian? I guess it could be Rabian. No, I'm going to go with Rechbein because he's German. Why not? I got to have some phlegm in there. So, all right, Oliver, that's right. Your fourth donation got me to pronounce your name correctly. I hope I did it. Otherwise, maybe I got to refund it. I have no idea. I don't know how that works. So Sam Buck, thank you so much, and Oliver Rechbein. And you know what? I've been remiss, folks. I have not mentioned people who monthly donate to the show. I only mention people who give one-time donations and stuff, and I've never really, because there's a bunch of people monthly donate, and I really appreciate it, but I've kind of scotched over them and not said their names. So I think it's about time I mention the likes of a Paul Was, who donates every month, and a David Kemp, who donates every month to this show, and a Sarah J. Lombardi, who's our good friend from Philadelphia and New York. She donates to the show every week. Thank you so much. And I'm also wondering if her family owns a pizza place in New York. So that's Sam Buck, Oliver Rechbein, Paul Was, David Kemp, and Sarah J. Lombardi. Thank you guys so much for your support and your continued support of the show. I do appreciate you contributing to the show, and I can't tell you how much I appreciate it. Did I say I appreciate it, and I can't tell you how much I appreciate it? Folks, again, it's late. If you go to my Facebook page, facebook.com/the40year-old-boy, you can be my friend there. And you can also sign up for the Bring Mike Schmidt to Your City pages. There's San Antonio, New Orleans, a bunch of places that exist. You can go ahead and sign up. Toronto, London. A woman from London sent me a spreadsheet of theaters and how much they cost and seating capacities and has been very helpful. So London took a real leap forward this week. And I was excited about that, so we'll go ahead and take a look. Right now, though, the priority is the Kickstarter cities. Mike Schmidt's East Coast tour, the Success is Not an Option tour coming to the East Coast. I was looking at Atlanta, Washington, D.C., Boston, and Cleveland at scheduling those shows, and I posted on my Facebook page just yesterday, one of those cities has been booked.
What?
That's right. One of those cities has been booked. First, let me tell you about the fact that I'll be in San Francisco. February 17th, I will be in San Francisco at the Dark Room Theater. 8 o'clock show should be fun. I've been there before. They were really cool. And I should tell you that seats are going. We have sold quite a few tickets right now. And let's buy some tickets. I want to sell it out. I would love to go ahead and get people. Hold on. Lily's getting a text. It's very important. I don't want to interrupt her text. Because, again, I'm here so late. I'm here so late. So the Dark Room Theater, tickets are available, brown paper tickets for that. And as I've mentioned, one of the Kickstarter cities is booked. All right. So, hey, March 2nd, Atlanta, Georgia. That's right. The Fabrifaction Theater right there in Atlanta. I was happy to find it. I called a bunch of places in Georgia and got the runaround from some of them, and they all have different rules. But the Fabrifaction Theater came through March 2nd. I will be there, folks, in Atlanta, Georgia. Looking forward to it. Excited, thrilled. Tickets are available at brownpapertickets.com as we speak. Go ahead and pick up tickets for the Atlanta show. I can tell you that room is a normal-sized room that I usually go to, so I'm excited about that. Fabrifaction Theater in Atlanta having me March 2nd. Success is Not an Option marches through Atlanta like Sherman burning the fucking place down. And when I posted that yesterday, I was being serious. There was one Kickstarter city booked, but of course that left today, and it left me alone with my phone. And I think I should tell you folks this. March 23rd.
What?
Friday, March 23rd, at the D.C. Art Center in Washington, D.C.,
No.
I will be there. The Success is Not an Option tour. Tickets on sale at brownpapertickets.com right now for Mike Schmidt in Washington, D.C. The Success is Not an Option tour shows up and shows those people in Capital Town what's what. I will tell you that this theater is small. Small. I think seating capacity is like 50. I usually like to get more than that, but still, it's tiny. So if you're going to get tickets, get them quick. I actually thought about adding a second date, but I don't think that's going to work out. Instead, it will just be me Friday, March 23rd at the DC Art Center, hanging out and doing a show. Hanging out. I'm going to be hanging out there. Success is Not an Option tour comes to Washington, D.C. on March 23rd. Look at that. 2 of the Kickstarter cities booked, folks. And you would think that would be enough. Except for the fact that I also own a phone that goes out to other cities like Cleveland, Ohio. What? April 27th, Cleveland, Ohio at the Big Dog Theater, ladies and gentlemen, in Cleveland Heights. I'm very excited to be there. I should tell you this, as small as DC is, that's how big Cleveland is. It's a barn, man. I think it holds 300. It might hold, 250 to 300, I forget. Something like that, some number. But yeah, Cleveland is April 27th at the Big Dog Theater. And I should tell you, this is going to be a weird experiment because Don, who runs the joint, was really friendly and really nice and wanted to really bring me there and told me I'm going to do everything I can to sell this place out. He wants to put me, they have a huge emailing list. They have a Facebook friend list. He wants to blast it out to all of them and put me on their website and get me on the radio. And he has got all these plans for all this stuff. And I told him, I go, hey, Don, we don't need to do any of that. Because that would mean the general public is coming to my show and they don't like me. And he laughed, and he's like, come on, this will be great. And so I think I'm going to ride this. I think I'm going to try it. I think I'm going to actually try to get real people at this show. And not that you're not real people, folks, but you know what I do and you like it. I don't have to convince anybody to like me, for fuck's sake. But I think I'm going to try it. So April 27th at the Big Dog Theater in Cleveland, Ohio. Tickets are on sale now at Brown Paper Tickets. February 17th in San Francisco at the Darkroom Theater. Tickets are on sale at Brown Paper Tickets. March 2nd at the Fabrifaction Theater in Atlanta, Georgia. Tickets are on sale at Brown Paper Tickets. And March 23rd at the DC Art Center in Washington, D.C. Tickets are on sale at Brown Paper Tickets. Boston, I'm fucking looking at you. And I've announced, by the way, this DC Art Center date, and I'm hoping it's real. It was real this afternoon, but this is, all right, look, this is as good as Don has been, and he wants to put me out and send me out and all this stuff for the radio, and he wants to get me there, and he wants to use his email thing. The guy in DC, there was a 2-week waiting period while they reviewed my thing, and then they sent me an email, and all he said was, I have the 23rd and the 30th. Which do you want? So I was like, awesome. So I wrote him, I go, I'd rather have the 23rd and the 30th as a backup if you can do it. I don't hear from him for 4 days. So then I write him yesterday. I'm like, dude, is the 23rd working? Is that possible? And then he writes me today and he goes, yes, the 23rd is good. And I'm sending you a contract. Everything is fine. And all on email. So I immediately called him because I wanted to announce it here, but I didn't know. I have to ask questions. I mean, I got to know that they have what I need, kind of. I mean, they did on the website, but I need to be sure. So I call up, and he's busy running a technical run through because I should also tell you this. In his email to me, he said, yes, you're good on the 23rd. You need to do a technical walkthrough of the space, which means you have to come in, and we do not accept that 24 hours before the show. You need to come in well before that to make sure that we meet what you need. And I live in Los Angeles. I don't think I can fly to town and look at your fucking theater. You saw that in my ad, right? Or in the application that you reviewed for 2 fucking weeks. You saw that I live in Los Angeles? So, motherfucker, sure enough, I called there and she's like, you know what? He's doing a technical walkthrough with somebody from Zimbabwe who's got a show here in December. I said, look, I have to talk to him today. When I called, it was 3:10 my time, which was 6:10 their time. I go, I understand it's getting late, but do me a favor when he's done. I just need to talk to him for 5 minutes. That's it, and I won't bother him. She goes, okay, well, what questions do you have? And I go, well, I mean, I want to make sure that we're good for the 23rd, and I have some questions about the room. It's okay. I just got to talk to him. Great. I will have him call you. I go, look, I do a once a week internet radio show. I have to try to explain it to people who don't know what podcasts are. I do a once a week thing. So if I have to get to him today because it's today when I record, and I don't want my window to close. All right, because if I have to wait, I have to wait a week for ticket sales, and I don't want to do that. And she said, "Oh, no problem. I guarantee you, I'll get him. He'll call you." I said, "Great. I'm hopping in the shower now, and then have him call me. They'll pull me out of the shower, whatever you need." So I told Karen. I hopped in the shower, and I get out of the shower. I get the phone ring. No. I get dressed. Phone ring. No. I grab the phone and I call her. And it's, it's been a half hour. It's 3:40 now, 3:45. And she answers. I go, Deborah? And she goes, yes. I go, hi, it's Mike. I called a while ago, and you told me that I could talk to the director. Oh, he left. He left. She goes, yeah, well, he said he answered all your questions in email. Yeah, he didn't. He didn't, Deborah. These are the questions I have. Do you guys have a microphone and a microphone stand? Oh, I don't know. That's a question for him. Yes, it is, Deborah. That's why I called to speak to him. You let him slip out of a fucking coat check closet side door. Meanwhile, Don in Cleveland has got my picture and headshot posted up, and he's sketching me wearing the Heart of the Ocean like Kate Winslet in fucking Titanic. That's how much that guy fucking loves me. He wants to get me on 9 radio shows. I think he actually signed over the theater to me. I may own it at this fucking point. But sure enough, this guy skulks out the back door rather than call me back to answer one motherfucking question. I am just stupid enough to think that when people listen to me and they listen to the show, they should take my honesty and go, oh, wow, how refreshing his unvarnished honesty is. And the fact that he's willing to have a scorched earth policy and have no friends or no fucking future is so refreshing and great. But then they'll say to me, hey, do you need somebody raped with a stick? I go, yes, I do. Done. They'll take care of it for me. Thanks, Snake Rape. Oh, no one listens to show, bro? Wonder why? Wonder why no one listens to show, bro? I don't want to listen to show, bro. Please. Snake Rape, do it, do it, do it, do it.